Haha, hello everyone. We are the Lost Caravan RPG. We do one-shots, we do mini-series, we do long-running campaigns. If it's TTRPG, we pretty much do it all. Tonight, we're playing a beautiful game that it struck me so hard when I saw it because we have so many games about like hunting monsters and these vicious beasts that you have to protect the kingdom from. And then you just have Monster Care Squad, where your entire goal is to diagnose and help monsters, which I thought was very cool. Because I myself am an animal lover, and I think everyone here is an animal lover. So yeah, just we're very excited. But before we jump into it, we do a few announcements. The first being we have two sponsors. Our first sponsor is Hero Forge. It is a site that we use to usually make all of our wonderful tokens, but mainly it's where you can go to make super customized miniature models, which you can get sent straight to your door for whatever the heck we can roll dice in person again. But you can use our link there posted in chat by Dido to not only get cool stuff, but support us in the process. And I don't know about you all, but I like going into Hero Forge and just making characters because it's just fun. There's just so many options. It's just fun. Go check it out. Even if you don't buy anything,
So
go check
many,
it out.
so many cups.
I love the cups. My favorite edition.
You know what? Perfect for tonight would be the camping gear, the campfire,
But
the
our
hot
second
dogs.
sponsor, as I'm going to pick up the here, is Epidemic Sound. It is the site that we use to get all of our wonderful royalty-free sounds and sound effects. Hopefully that's not too loud. They really do have any kind of music you could ever want, since we do streams from dancing toys to horror slashers to nightmare trains to epic journeys. It's incredible they have music for literally everything. And if you do use our link there posted in chat, you get 30 days access free to the entirety of the site. And at the end of the 30 days, if you decide you don't want this subscription, if you don't need it, you can cancel. It doesn't cost you a penny. But if you do decide to keep it and to actually buy a subscription, that does support us. And I get a fun little email every time that says, hey, you got another subscription. Keep it up. It's pretty cool. Ah, I think all we have left is upcoming games. If you do like what we do and you want to roll some dice with us in the future, you can join us in our Discord. Link is down below, that big old button that says Discord. It's where we post things like casting calls, schedules, and where we just generally hang out and be giant nerds. Coming up games, though, tomorrow we have a game of Through the Breach, our Arcana Punk Wild West game where Turk's character is definitely not going to just murder the whole party.
No.
Speaking of Turk, on Wednesday we have Icon. It is a game made by the same people that made Lancer, which we love so much around here. On
It's there too. Gosh, don't call me out like that.
you are there. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I flew under the radar. Like the bird that I
Oh.
am in that game.
Just we have 3 days in a row of Turk and Heck.
Yeah.
On Friday, we have a game of 10 Candles, which I'm very excited for because we have a Foundry module to represent the candles, and there's a programmable like random chance for the candles to just blow out, which is going to be very fun. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the immediate games. I think that's more than enough out of me, even. Why don't I pass it on over to the lovely cast and crew that you see in front of us, and we'll let them tell you who they are and who they're playing, and what inspired these characters at a young age to want to join the Monster Care Academy. Starting to my immediate left with the most qualified real-life medical professional here with Heck.
Hey everybody, it's me, Sir Heckalot. I am now very flustered. Those of you in chat that don't know, what a hoop is, alluding to is that I am in my second year of vet school. So this game has been on my radar for a super long time. I'm so excited to play it. And tonight I'm playing as Cordelia. And I think as someone who spent a lot of time around water as a child, maybe saw a lot of aquatic creatures that she thought was really cool. And just wanted to work with aquatics and be a vet and help them because there's a lot of things that can go wrong out in the water.
It really is. All right, so that brings us down to Scar. I mean, Turk.
Call me Ishmael. I've been waiting the whole night to say that. It was so early already. All right, goodbye, everybody. No, hi, everybody. I'm Turk, or Turk Accented on Twitch, Twitter, and other places where human and AI gather to exchange ideas. And I am, of course, playing Ishmael, who is inspired to join the Monster Care Squad. I think for him, it's a long life of living out in the roughs, the outer areas, the wilds. Never formally applying that getting that application to be a part of an academy or city, but kind of learning everything he did just from being out there amongst creatures, and then probably starts noticing that hey, you don't just need to hunt them, you also can help them and be cool about that. So he's joined at an older age probably than most, but he's gonna pull like a Robert De Niro intern on this and be smart. Yeah.
Heck yeah. And then over to Tessa, who I think much of our community knows by voice, but is now joining us on stream.
Oh, I am playing Zuzu, who for this would be the third generation in her family of writers and trainers. And it was just kind of the natural progression to go from writer and trainer to Monster Care Squad. It's kind of hard to train anything when they're all getting sick. So, time to go help out.
Makes sense to me.
And of course, coming with me is my wonderful ride. His name is King Cooperlonius III, also known as King, KK, Cuckoo, Coop, Koopa, King-a-ling-a-ding-dong, and Fat Ass. He is a giant fanged lizard who, goes anywhere with me. He's so ugly, he's cute.
That's amazing. And then over to Dido.
Hello, I'm Dido. Tonight I am playing Maddie, the animal behaviorist. She got into the Monster Care Squad because she always had an affinity to just go out and find dangerous beasts and kind of tame their wild side. So her family and her village pulled everything together to send her to a university, and then here she is, taking care of monsters.
Heck yeah. And then last but not least, up to Lonnie.
I'm Lonnie, or Looney_Shaws, or whatever any respective social media would allow. I am going to be playing Raya tonight, and I think she was I think she just decided to join the Monster Care Squad because when she was younger, she used to love hiking a lot with her family. And I think there was one day where basically she happened across a small animal that was injured and decided that she wanted to try to heal them and, make sure she nursed them back to health. And after that, she became fascinated with comforting and wanting to help as many animals as she could. And they just ended up getting bigger and bigger over time. By her choice or not, she'll still, help the small ones too, but it seems like we're gonna be fighting oh my god, I just said fighting. What game are we playing? Seems like we're gonna be caring for some bigger animals today. So, she's worked her way up the ranks.
Heck yeah. And of course, I'm Andrew, your Games Master for the evening, and for most evenings, although you are going to see a bunch of friendly faces behind the GM's chair in the coming weeks, because we got a bunch of great people that want to tell a bunch of great stories, and we're here to support it. Especially for January, because I think we've mentioned a few times, not too many details yet, we're still getting everything sorted, but we are doing a big old event for my birthday, because every year I like to make it about other people, and we like to do a big charity event. Because it's fun. Pause on that second. And dive into just a little bit of scenes. I didn't, but I will adjust the volume. Thank you. So, in the world of Monster Care Squad, the land of Ald Amora. There we go. It is a Pangean supercontinent dominated by an enormous desert known as the Burning Sea. Surrounding the desert are a series of arid and dry mountain ranges that serve to trap the moisture from blowing in from the ocean, creating temperate areas and forests at their bases. To the extreme north and south, fjords and subarctic biomes have become more common, while the east and west of the continents are identified by their seemingly endless forests and rolling hills. Ald Amora has several more alien biomes. The Burning Sea has patches of lava sand and crystal grottos occupying some of the north and west columns. Mushroom rainforests occupy island chains to the south, and volcanic ash deserts can be found in the valley to the west. Rumors persist of a coral forest on one of these islands to the west. The regions of temporal uncertainty are abound. Ald Amora has one major river, a mind-boggling, massive Arrayas. That's how we're pronouncing that word. Every river in the world eventually finds its way to the Arrayas. The above-ground body spans the entire length of the continent, and its underground caverns stretch across the rest in a vast network of caves that feed most groundwater reserves to the world. Even at its narrow points, the Arrayas is wide enough that you can't see either side from the middle, which is actually kind of crazy. The source of the river is unknown, but it's likely magical or monstrous in nature. Speaking of monsters, the world of Ald Amora is a little different. And intense. Monsters aren't these vicious creatures that kings and queens and nobles pay you to go out and slay. They are noble and majestic beasts, many of them making friends and allies with humans, bestowing their many gifts upon us. They, for generations, have lived in harmony, making a very peaceful and prosperous world. It's not until recently that some of these monsters have started to go, well, crazy. They've begun attacking cities and innocent people for apparently no reason. Thankfully, we have some of the brightest minds in existence trying to find a solution. We've come to what we believe is called fool's gold, a disease that makes a monster go berserk. Now, this can present itself in many different fashions, from causing this golden-like essence to just ooze out of these berserk monsters, or causing these gold crystals to materialize on their skin and up their feathers. The only commonality between these cases that the monsters involved lose all sense of self-preservation, all sense of nobility, all sense of right and wrong, and will simply attack. That's where our team comes in, the Monster Care Squad. They hunt down these infected monsters, They diagnose them, they find a cure, and they bring them back to normal. This is not the job for the faint of heart. Since, in recent months, you've all noticed a gathering storm, a literal storm. The mountains to the north of you, the floating spires, have been gathering more and more electrical charges, to the point where there are days where streaks of electrical energy will just trace along the ground, hundreds of meters from the spires, leaving burning swaths in its path. No one knows what's causing this, and yet people believe that the recent disappearances of the griffin population are connected. They're not sure how. They believe that Fool's Gold is somehow adding to or causing this. You're not the only team dispatched on this, so there are multiple cities affected. So there's even a chance you could run into other monster care squads while you're out there. But knowing that you are going to be traversing high in the mountains through electrical storms, are there any preparations that any of you would like to make before departing?
No. Yeah, of course.
No.
Oh yeah, going as is.
I'd like
Nice.
to get a really
Just-
big metal rod.
Oh,
That's what I was thinking.
And we all stay
Actually-
very far away from him so we know where the lightning is going
Yeah.
to strike.
If we're camping,
Ah.
if we're camping, it might actually be useful to have a lightning rod stuck into the ground somewhere else.
That's fair. As long as you're not holding it when it gets struck. That's the one thing.
So is this just to confirm, game wise, is this considered part of the diagnosis phase, sort of, or is this?
Nope. This was just if there's any final preparations that you wanted to make, now's your chance.
Is there such a thing as electric-proof shoes, clothes?
You could wear rubber gloves and rubber boots, yeah.
I'd also like a Gigantor fat ass size, please, for my mouth.
Also, we'll make sure to be wearing like a really warm cloak with a hood on just for the rain and everything too. If there, well, is this? I'm thinking like a regular thunderstorm, but there's no rain. Is there? It's just
There has been.
okay. Okay.
Only need a hat.
Yeah.
You have been granted a hero point from the chat. Love you very much. This is an ace for the party. That means that you can spend this for any of your checks to add a d4 to it.
Excellent.
In addition to
Oh.
okay, in addition to the other things, definitely sets of either waterproof cases or bags or something like that.
Sure.
So the things that we want to stay dry, like bandages and other supplies, stay dry.
Absolutely.
And obviously tents and stuff too for the
Yeah.
same concept for
Yeah.
us sleeping in the
I feel like you all are very well equipped to go out into the field and do research and do your jobs.
I tend to my birds.
Yeah.
I have one of those like pigeon coops that is also basically my room, and I'm just like deciding on who's ready. I have the roster lineup from last mission and looking at performance reports.
imagining them having
It's
like
me and it's me and my parrot looking things over with spectacles.
Do you
why
have
am
a
I
backpack?
imagining them having like horse race names?
Oh, absolutely.
Like I'm betting on Lucky Jim today.
Yeah. Or they have like
I
4
know,
different
look at
words
you.
in the same name. It's like
Mhm.
I don't actually know racehorse names, just to be clear.
I'm sure Lucky Jim was a name.
It was
Lucky
Lucky
Jim's
Jim.
Probably.
absolutely a
Lucky
name,
Jim is-
but it you gotta go wilder. You can aim so much higher. Mountaintop brew brown.
Ooh.
So,
Mountaintop brown brew.
for anyone watching that does not know how to play Monster Care Squad, you've never seen this game before, the character creation is very interesting. because a vast majority of it is purely made up. It's the skills and abilities, and it's what your character's good at. These are just things that you determine. There's no set list to choose from. The only mechanical decision that anyone had to make from the book was what your special moves were. If you've played games like Blades in the Dark, we use a move system. But a vast majority of the character choices that you're about to see were purely made up by these wonderful people. Well,
Actually,
Wait.
if I could
Yeah.
get one more thing, just purely flavor probably, but I am going to look into types of restraining ropes and nets that are graded for large flying creatures. So, the ropes could be maybe have some, like, instead of like buoys on a fishing line or something, they could have some paths so it's easier on landings for capturing something out of the air.
I would say that all of you can add a character ace for you to spend whenever you want to when you're dealing with electricity. You're taking proper precautions of like metal gloves and rubber gloves
Yeah.
and rubber boots.
Just
We'll all
bring
make
me
sure
out
we
in an
have
Iron Man
spikes
suit.
in our sh-
I actually will. Do we know what kind of animals we're looking for monsters we're looking for going out, or is it affecting a vast,
The-
variety of species?
The main thing that you're looking for is what's happening to the griffin population.
Right. Okay, yes, okay. I remember that now. So I took a skill called Animal Dietetics. Can I just say that I have prepared the foods that I know that griffins would usually like? Kind of
Yeah.
like just have some of that prepped in with our normal rations too.
Yeah, like
Almost like have it in their own little side goodie bag with separate from our food.
I'm telling you, the bread and butter that I have prepared will work wonderfully with all things. You don't need any fancy schmancy seed or green.
Yeah,
I mean,
just
Timothy likes it.
I'll put the extra stuff on top of the bread and butter. So, they have the protein and the bread and butter as a sandwich. They're already prepped. It's great.
Sounds like a fantastic idea.
they are definitely carnivores. So you're probably got just like a pack full of, small, hunted critters to feed them. But with the preparations out of the way, we're able to enter the very first phase of the game. This is diagnosis. As we traverse out of the city to the north, it would be about a day and a half maybe, until you get your first glimpse of the floating spires. And they do quite literally mean the floating spires. These mountain ranges are not connected to the ground. There are massive updrafts of natural volcanic air, as well as some mysticality that keeps these enormous stone structures afloat. Now, presuming that you all knew that this was the case, if one of you would like to make the first move to get yourselves up there, because you do need a means to reach them.
Rolls. I always know the way. Is a move I have.
Mm-hmm.
So the question to the guests of the group is, do we want to go a long way that could provide benefits while we're on our way up, or do we want to take a quick way that won't provide any benefits or clues?
I mean, I think the more clues, the better. The more information we have, the easier we can diagnose without distressing them.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm also for the holistic picture.
Yeah, for all we know, that
Be the
it's an
scenic way, too.
environmental thing.
Ishmael, as soon as we're stepping out into the spire, just analyzes the hill. We'll go this way. Challenge ourselves. Learn more.
Love it.
And he also has assigned birds to each of you now. Rhea has Wavering Monarch. Cordelia has Midnight Interlude. Maddie has Subordinated Debt. And Zuzu has Vickers in Trouble.
I love it.
So this
Of
is the
course.
potential of horse race names, huh?
Yeah, well, my parrot is, of
I
course,
love
just
this.
named Boss.
Boss.
Respect it.
Boss.
Well, deciding to take the long route. It is going to be a bit more of an arduous climb. It's going to also send you through one of the kind of small canyonous areas that run adjacent to these mountains. But ahead of you, after about another day's worth of travel, you see massive rope bridges, massive, hand-built columns that go up and connect the floating spires. At the base of all of this is about a half-built tower, a wonder of construction. Stonework perfectly cut, everything perfectly symmetrical. There's tools and workbenches and everything is laid out. This is clearly still being built. Also, Holly, thank you so much for this. The resub. We heckin' love ya. Standing there, working alone. An older woman, probably late 50s. Fairly large in stature, close to 7 feet. Very clearly been working outside her entire life. Rough hands, very simple tunic. Muscular for a 50-year-old woman. Just carves away. Just sets a level down in the stone. Picks it off, continues carving. Wanting to get it absolutely perfect. Hearing travelers come up the road, just stop, smile, and wave at you. Which one of you would say is in the lead?
I could take the lead. Greetings. Gives him kind of a nod, looks around.
Well, I guess if you're here, then you must be looking for something. Those cloaks
Indeed.
I'd recognize anywhere.
Good. We do seek something. We are looking for griffins. Have you seen any in the area?
There's just kind of an immediate sadness. No griffins. Not for a while.
Raya will kind of like pop out from behind Ishmael and kind of just be like, what are you working on? What's your carving of?
Well, someone's got to work on this tower, don't they?
Oh, you're maintaining it.
Well, in a way.
That's
my husband and my son, they were building this together. Decided that I should finish it.
amazing. I feel like I've walked past these before or seen them in the distance, but it looks great. And you're doing great work.
Appreciate it. Sorry I couldn't be more help. Honestly, you're I think the third or fourth team that I've seen come through here in the past month.
Oh,
Always the same story. Looking for griffins. Headed up the mountain. Haven't seen any of them come back yet.
They have not been us.
your son and husband.
Sorry, what was that?
Where's your son and husband? You said that you were working on the tower for them.
Oh, they just took a trip. They'll be back.
Venturing parties to go find the griffins.
There's a lot of cities around here. They need help. Strong, capable hands.
Yeah, you certainly seem to have seen the most of the people going up to see the griffins. What do you think might have happened?
Honestly, I think there's something really bad up there. Something that the griffins were... they could feel. Want to sort it for us?
Could you tell us what they look like? Maybe when we're walking through, might happen across them, we can let them know that you're hard at work and missing them. Send them home.
Well, a husband would be hard to miss. But, and like, kind of gestures a little taller than she is. Hair's all gone. Years of working in the sun. Our boy. Gestures even taller. Probably closer to 8 feet. Fiery red hair. Again, hard to miss.
Well, then we'll surely find them and let them know.
What is your name?
Arid.
It's nice to meet you, Arid.
Sorry, I didn't catch any of your names.
I'm Rhea. Sorry.
Maddie.
Name's Cordelia.
You may call me Ishmael.
Fire.
Pleasure. Well, if you need a place to sleep for the night, you're welcome. Otherwise, good luck.
Very kind of you.
Don't have much, but better to share. And I'm sure you've got stories to trade anyways.
Zuzu will pull out a loaf of bread and just hand it to her.
Oh, no. Keep it.
Oh, I've got it's practically bottomless. It's fine.
If you insist. Take it.
Hey, what kind of time of day is it?
By now, probably like early afternoon.
So could we still potentially get a lot of groundwork in?
Absolutely.
Does she appear super, super lonely?
Yeah.
Alright, I'm gonna have El Chungo just like lather this woman in kisses
Oh.
and just try and like cheer her up immensely.
It definitely helps. She is a large woman, and this big old bulldog of a dragon thing just wrestling her to the ground does seem to put a few years back in her step that she may have lost recently.
He's not allowed to eat the loaf of bread though. That's hers.
Definitely tries a few times.
Oh well, shoot. I don't think it would hurt to stay, but we do have some time that we could make up for. What do you guys think?
How bad is the storm starting to look? Is it getting like any worse? Is it staying kind of the same?
It's been about the same from the bit you've seen the past few days of travel.
I mean, she said that the griffins seem attracted to the storm. I mean, I'm kind of afraid that if we waste too much time, whatever is causing the storm will attract more, and might be above our pay grade a little bit. Be a little more than we can handle.
Not to mention,
Not
I'm
it-
a little concerned about the other squads not being seen since they've gone up there.
Have you noticed a pattern of storms at all?
Asking her,
Yeah.
they seem to come and go. Almost how to put this? Like a heartbeat. Rhythmic at times, but other times rapid. Chaos.
Stay for dinner? And still get some more walking in before nightfall? Tell her a few stories over freshly
Hot
caught
chocolate.
hot chocolate. Yeah.
Actually caught hot chocolate.
Freshly caught hot chocolate.
I wasn't sure if we could help her go searching, but we can definitely find cacao beans to make the
Yeah.
hot chocolate fresh. Yeah.
And just because you are staying here doesn't mean that some of you couldn't go do some scouting, get some preliminary work done, and then, be back by nightfall. All right.
Sounds good.
Then, deciding to stay and rest up prior to beginning your daunting climb, you are brought to her. For her, it is a very quaint, very adequately sized home. For normal people that, are under 7 feet tall, it's a fairly large cabin.
Oh, definitely can't reach the top shelf here.
Can we even reach the doorknob? Like,
Hold on, let me climb on top.
get on top of King Koopa to reach the doorknob.
If any of you would like to make a move for the evening to assist with your diagnosing,
Oh no, I think this lady's quite happy in her marriage.
I mean,
No.
I mean, she is lonely.
No, I think as we're kind of looking for food and stuff, if I could potentially try and follow a trail or something.
yeah, absolutely.
Just get us a idea of where we're heading after this, and as well as any clues we might find in this immediate area. So help me out. Troll track is so rolling just normally is going to be
2d6.
2d6. Okay, thank you. Oh my brain panicked. Okay, plus acuity for this. 5 and a 1 is 6 plus 1. And my acuity is a 7, which thankfully I only have to pick one. So I disturb something that shouldn't have been disturbed. You lose the trail, but find yourself somewhere interesting anyway. You break something important. I'm gonna lose the trail, but find myself somewhere interesting anyway.
Okay. Would you roll me a d8, please?
I guess, because you asked so nicely. 3.
I should ask, did you bring anyone with you?
I have my Boyds.
Right. So you certainly
And
could
I-
reach them should you need them, but
No. I work alone sometimes. Not usually, but sometimes I work alone.
you get quite a ways up there, climbing multiple sets of, rope bridge stairs. Thankfully, you don't have vertigo, because there's some points where the wind starts to pick up a little, and it's just swaying.
Yeah, no, I left them at home. The others.
Even a point where you see one of the bridges had snapped. You have to divert. You actually have to do a little rock climbing and get up to the next part yourself. And in the process, come across a crack in the mountain. Staring inside, there's little veins of crystals along the floor and the ceiling, very clearly visible. And the longer you stare, the more you can see that there's a little shimmering in the air just everywhere. Kind of looks like spiderweb almost. But then a breeze catches and starts to blow its way through that cavern, and that breeze pulls on all of these strings, and you can see that they are just threads of crystal. And as the wind pulls past them, it strums along them like a room full of harpstring. And for a few moments, the wind just plays you this beautiful crystal melody.
Ishmael sits and listens with his Boyd boss. But he will, probably noticing it's been a bit longer than he wanted, start heading back to the group.
Yeah. Definitely does delay you a bit, which the rest of you, or I should ask, did any of else want to do anything for the evening? That is also 1 point in your clock.
I think that Maddie, after making everyone a nice cup of hot chocolate, I don't mean nice, I mean it is like the best hot chocolate, like gourmet style hot chocolate. She probably pulls out her crocheting and just starts teaching this old lady how to crochet. It's like, it would take me too long to make a blanket. Whew, you're big. But we can work on it together until our friend comes back.
Absolutely. I mean, for a little bit of the evening, she'd, get to work cutting up some vegetables and some meats, making this big old pot of stew. Instinctively, you'd see her just pull down like one bowl and cup and, flatware, and then go back up to the cabinet and pull down more. But, yeah. As the stew is cooking, she'd be more than happy to sit and, chat, share stories, as she does her darndest to try to learn how to crochet with hands that have, worked with stone and construction her entire life. Little needles, it's a little tough.
I think what Maddie would do seeing the struggle is, how, the new trend is to, knit with, those blanket where you use your arms?
Thick knit blankets, the really, yeah, the really
thick
thick
ones,
yarn.
where you have to use your arms to crochet it.
I don't, but that sounds
She's a bit-
amazing.
She's a behaviorist. She watches behaviors and adapts to what they can do. So
Yeah. Absolutely. Anyone else?
Rhea will be at the end of the day. She'll kind of like after everyone's already been eating, she'll make sure she's helping clean up, trying to wash dishes, assuming she can reach the sink, but I think a sink even would be hard to have it be too tall. She'll be kind of helping wash dishes and kind of just I think she'll be kind of humming, just just getting comfortable in the place, and she'll just kind of be humming. And without realizing it, so I made one of her specialties that she can lull a monster to sleep with her voice over time, depending on like how angry they are. So, I'm not sure if maybe Zuzu's steed would fall asleep after a little while, just kind of like if he's also kind of in the same area as all of us. So just little
Why
passed out monster.
he just up, boom.
She doesn't even realize she did it too. She'll kind of just be like doing dishes, humming, and like all of a sudden hear a thump and be like look behind her and like
Just
see
out.
the monster, like see your steed on the floor and be like, oh.
You get the-
And just kind of keep doing dishes because she doesn't. Sorry.
Loud snoring ensues.
Yeah, the drooling. She just points to you. You get to clean it up this time.
Okay, I can understand.
I think Zuzu would just while she's preoccupied, go around the cabin and see kind of if anything needs a little fixin'. I've got Presto, so I can do small acts of magic. My headphones keep falling off. So I figure if I can, fix any little thing that needs fixin', shine up anything that needs shining. I do, in fact, am able to make anything sparkle, as the trainer groomer that I am.
Mhm.
So, just as a thank you and to cheer her up a bit. I don't want to make it overly obvious. I don't want to offend her
No risk of that.
because she could yeet me.
I think at one point, while you're just kind of, hiding up things, you'd see that out back behind the cabin, there are like stalls where you can imagine larger mountain type herbivores were probably kept. Giant like mountain bison from the size of the stalls and like the size of the feed buckets, just big old fuzzy creatures. But the stalls are empty.
I'll go and I'll fix up the stalls if I can.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's any footprints, hoofprints, bison prints. Or any? Have they been living here recently, or are they just all?
Nothing has been out here for quite a while.
Yeah, I'll fix up the stall, but I want to ask her about it when I get back.
Yeah. I mean,
Just-
she wouldn't have avoided or anything. She just mentioned that, yeah, they did have, a pair of, farm animals that they use to, pull plows, go on, trips to the local cities to trade and whatnot. And her husband and her son took them when they left.
What kind of hair was on these stalls there, Hope?
Nothing unusual. Some gnaw marks.
Time-wise.
Say time-wise? Hmm. 8 months to a year, probably. Anything else? So there's a part in this book where it says that you cannot perform or take damage. They should specify that to physical damage because the emotional damage that we're all about to go through,
No.
Oh
not related to her, just in general, just for dealing with, beautiful landscapes and animals, it is what it is.
Emotional damage.
no! I'm not ready.
Must be.
But Ishmael would eventually return, probably a little over an hour after the sun has actually set, meaning that your last little leg of the journey back to the cabin was a little treacherous, but nonetheless, you make it back to just a wonderful smell with just this homemade, just rich, like gravy-esque stew with meats and veggies and natural spices. A very hearty meal for a very hearty people. For any of you that would stay up through the night, she'd be more than happy to stay up for a while, swapping stories, listening to your tales, but eventually nodding off and giving you all access to the couches, the bed, wherever you'd like to sleep. Till the morning light of it. With one final goodbye, she waves you off. All now stand staring up at this very, very tall climb that you're about to go through.
You
The
don't think
mother
there
rope.
might be like a bucket with a pulley system or something?
You would fit inside a bucket.
Maybe
I
one
mean,
of
it'd have to be a
hers.
human.
Come back down.
Some of the rope bridges are out ahead. We must
Hmm.
plan our trek carefully. Any further clues? I found only that this mountain is rich in natural material.
At least this part down, I don't think there are too many clues, but the more we climb, we should hopefully see something, right?
No more distractions then.
All right. Yes, thankfully you do. You know which of the bridges out here down this low are out, which does save everybody time. And it gets you up the safest way that you can, while hitting those parts where the wind kind of hits the bridge, and with everybody's weight, it creaks a little, but holds. But you actually reach the summit of this peak and the one long bridge that connects the standing mountain to the floating spire. I don't want to trigger anyone that does have a fear of heights in real life, so I won't go into too graphic of detail. You are very high off the ground. In what order would you like to cross the one bridge between the mountain and the floating spire?
I mean, I'm down to go first.
Follow after. Leave a rope behind me in case any should fall off.
I can go next.
Yeah, I think Chungus and I should be last.
You can also fly.
I can.
Yeah, can't Chungus fly?
Sure.
I could have
I
sworn
mean-
that he had wings in the picture.
I I mean, Chungus has always been able to fly. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, Chungus can fly.
Of
They
course
just like
Chungus can
pass us and
fly.
they're waving as we're like trying to walk across the bridge.
Yeah, it's one of those.
Yeah.
I'm forgetting the dragon's name from How to Train Your Dragon, but like the big like
Oh.
stumpy ones,
Yeah.
Oh, I
Yes.
can't remember the
like
name of it, but I can
Gronkles or
picture it.
something like that.
Yes, yes.
Is it
Gronkles,
actually?
the little wings?
I think I'm like 99% sure that sounds right.
I love it so
We're-
much.
We're all gonna be.
Yeah. Well then,
It's
Maddie.
your uncle. Confirmed.
Oh my god.
I think that puts Maddie at the very back.
Yeah, I mean, Maddie will bring up the rear. It's fine.
One by one, you start crossing. That bridge just swaying under your feet. You hear the cracks of lightning as the storm up above you was possibly starting to get a little more intense, but it's also that you're much closer. You can kind of feel that charge on the air always. There's even little streaks that start to just reach out from the spire itself. Cordelia, you're close to halfway across when those little bursts of energy start to get further out, more violent. As if there were just these hands of energy trying to reach for you all. In every single attempt, they get closer and more vicious.
Yeah, getting more on edge. I think Cordelia would like to use a move now in the diagnostic stage. In harm's way. When you navigate a dangerous environment or situation in search of information, roll plus grit. 10 plus, tell the table what you find, get away safely. 7 to 9, pick one. Doesn't say what happens if I get 6 or below, but hopefully we just don't get to that. So let me just roll and see what happens. Yeah, I have a +1. That will bring me right to a 7. Okay.
Good enough.
That's all we're looking for is good enough.
So you get to
Alright,
pick
so
one.
I get to pick one. Let's see. Yeah, I'm gonna go with this one. You get what you came for, but it costs you. I'm gonna lose 1 supply for this. That's okay. I can find more. Hopefully, we'll see.
What is your supply that is lost? What is piece of equipment or
I will say, yeah, I'm gonna say binoculars.
ooh,
It's gonna be hard for me to see across, but
ooh, yeah, that hurts. Just that streak of lightning hitting the actual mountainside and just tearing up it, causing everyone to have to kind of duck down and recoil to avoid getting splashed with rocks. And in that moment, you start to go full on back towards the edge, managing to grab on, but you feel something slip out of your pack and the binoculars eventually coming to a stop rather suddenly as they impact the ground and shatter. But from there, you can just continue to quickly shimmy yourself across, pausing at any moment where the storm starts to build up again, kind of moving in between strikes, eventually getting everyone across. Zuzu, are you and Koopa flying through this?
It was a trap the whole time.
Yeah,
It was a
really
trap.
was. I mean,
Never
I don't...
trust Hoop.
All right, so I have an idea. I don't know if it'll work. So I also have Presto, so I can do the small acts of magic.
Mhm.
Can I? Well, so one of the descriptions is walk on water for a short time. Can I like help him walk lightly on the bridge?
Yeah, his weight doesn't seem to be an issue. It's a very
Okay.
sturdy construction.
I don't know about that with all the swaying and the lightning and the. Because, yeah, flying and lightning is not the smartest ideas now that, my professional brain thinks about it.
Is there a move you'd like to do?
I don't think so.
Okay. Just simply landing, following the lead of Cordelia, and carefully making your way across.
Yeah. I'd say follow the trail, but that doesn't make sense because I'm just following her
Yeah.
trail, so that's, nah.
All
Yeah,
good.
no, we're just going.
Finally hitting the base of the floating spire, you feel this odd mixture of heat coming up from below, a very intense heat, and a very cold whipping of wind that is coming from higher up in the mountains, kind of meeting at the center there at the base, creating this odd vortex of natural and magical steam and air, and this supernatural electrically charged storm. They definitely meet like oil and water. And there's even this like almost aurora type effect every once in a while as you begin your ascent, of where they meet, the two energies just washing off each other and physically just tearing at the light, just bending your view of the landscape as they do so. But nonetheless, you begin your ascent. Are there any moves that any of you would like to make?
I prepared too much for the parts where there actually were monsters involved. So
Well, that's great.
right now I'm no help.
And I guess I kind of want to follow the trail, but
You certainly don't have to do any moves. If one of you had something in mind,
I
want to give you the
I
opportunity.
was thinking maybe I could pull a thread here, using my contingent of AVR to do a little low ground flighting and chirping around and talking with other birds. I think that's like the main point of my special equipment, is they're a fairly common species and very communicative with each other. Living in a variety of biomes across the Pangean continent.
Mhm.
And just going out and getting the gossip and coming back and
Absolutely.
reporting to boss, who can communicate it more fully to me. Boss knows many languages.
Go for
Even
it.
knows French. Okay. It's gonna be plus allure, which is good because I can apply my training in small squad leadership. So 6 and a 5 is 11
Oh.
plus 1 for 12.
Heck yeah.
So, let's see. So I can pick one. You know where the monster was last seen. You know where to find a survivor. The monster's last attack. You know the site of the monster's most recent rampage. You know where the monster used to nest before it went berserk. If possible, I'd like to find out where. Oh, good. There he is. I'd like to find out where the griffins are, like a decent amount of griffins maybe used to nest.
Absolutely. There'd be multiple places, even as you're traveling, just keeping an eye out where the griffins had nested. Very temporary nests, just to shield them from the storm. Mostly kind of at the mouths of caves. Sometimes there's little croppings of rock that you can see have been moved, where they just brute force shoved shelter together, just to shield themselves from the worst of the storm while they ascended.
We should look into these caves.
And I just point them out to the group.
The flock has noticed much.
Biggest thing is that you would notice, mixed in with a lot of the griffin feathers left behind, there are trails of blood.
Oh, that's not good.
And that blood has little little flecks of gold inside it.
Able to follow the flecks of, or the trail of gold and blood? See if we can follow it a certain way. I know obviously it's not going to lead us right to them, but it might at least give us a good idea of a direction.
Sounds like a move.
Is there a move you'd like to make?
Follow the trail.
Maddie would like to gather up some of the griffin feathers that are left in one of the caves.
Yeah, easy.
As many as she can. And then she starts rubbing herself with them. So she smells like one.
Ooh, like it. Rhea, was there a move you'd like to make?
The only 2 moves that I have are good for the symbiosis stage.
So there are
No,
a
the
series
diagnose.
of generic moves that anyone can use in Diagnosis.
Gotcha. See, you sent those, and I was like, oh, but I already chose my skills. Okay. Oh no, these are way too small. There we go. You don't have to wait on me. I'm sorry. If anyone else wants to do something while I'm
You
looking.
can just roll to
I'm
follow
behind.
a lead.
What?
Follow a trail
follow,
would be.
follow a trail is
Okay.
a move. So
Here's what I got would also be good if you're trying to assess the condition of them. You could also use this to do some treasured insight, which means that you'd be assisting whoever is going after you in the move that they're trying to make.
I'll look into. I'll roll. Here's what I've got,
Sure.
and that's plus acuity.
Mhm.
Hey gang, maybe you should keep some of these feathers on you. I know creatures tend to trust me, but if we smell like them, they might be even more soothed if we encounter them.
That's a really good idea. Cordelia will kind of do the same thing. I was like, we should definitely keep a couple of these if we can, like keep them in good condition. Like as she's kind of smoothing them out, like if they're missing any feathers, we might be able to imp these on.
I'd give you a party ace for that, for using their scents, their feathers. What you got, Rhea?
I rolled an 8. So if I were to say we know where the monster is headed next, would that actually, how much would that help us? Or should I? Actually, I think I'd want to. No, I'd want to know the wound, considering there's already blood on the scene.
You did. Here's what I got. You got an 8, so you get to pick one. You can mark one clock segment as successful. You can gain a session ace. You know where the monster's headed next, or you learn the effects of one wound. Wounds are like a monster's special abilities.
Okay.
These are things that the Fool's Gold has caused to change in them that you have to diagnose and cure. So yeah, either of those would be very useful.
Yeah, I'll learn the wound.
Okay. Give me just a second. I should bookmark.
Do we think this fool's gold is making them attack their own, like their own pack?
It's possible. Fool's gold causes all to go to wild aggression. Could be useful to track, though.
And so even though we smell like them, we should still be on guard if it's causing them to just attack anything.
Of course. That's why we stay together.
So, studying the blood and those flecks of gold, you'd find that the little bits of blood that have been here longer are more crystallized. The fresher blood, kind of just having those little bits of gold running through them like a small vein. But it seems the longer that it's allowed to set, the more it actually starts to grow. It crystallizes into that odd amber color, red and gold running through it. The wound causes a golden miasma to emit from any open wounds, any orifices of the beast, of the monster, and it causes anything around it to start to crystallize.
So does that mean that it would kind of slowly spread and...
Yep. And
Okay.
who knows what would happen if a human was too close to it for too long.
I don't know if it's because The Last of Us is going to come out in January, but I'm getting clicker vibes.
A little bit. More order and crystal than, fleshy Nurgle. But yeah.
I was thinking the rock candy from Avatar.
Yeah.
We went in different directions.
Meanwhile, in my head, I'm just like worried it's gonna like just continue crystallizing until the point where it just like becomes a
Well-
solid statue of like this pretty amber color, but like
Mm.
I don't know
So
if
then
that's
we-
possible, but
Then we have no time to lose. We should conclude our studies here and keep moving.
and also I'd say maybe steer clear of direct contact with the crystallized blood just to be safe.
Two of your companions have kind of been like cleaning off feathers, and they seem to be fine.
Okay.
Maybe
But-
it's the-
I was
Sorry,
wondering if
go
it
ahead.
was the blood specifically. Yeah.
It seems like more because the blood was already infected after it landed, it started to crystallize, but it itself isn't spreading any.
Okay.
if we've had all of those people that have gone missing and they came in contact with a wound, are we just gonna come into contact with a bunch of crystallized squad members?
They might be immobilized, making our work all the more important.
So maybe we're not just saving the Griffins, but we're saving some more of the squad.
I hope.
So let's find out where they're headed. Follow the blood, I guess.
Yes.
So
No one else wants to. I'd love to make a follow the trail roll
You go for
again.
yeah.
it. I'll help. I
Yeah.
can do that, right?
Yeah.
So there is a move that you can make called Treasured Insight, which basically is your means of helping.
yeah.
So I have specifically tracking as a skill. I could do the treasured insight and you could make the roll.
I have a pretty good acuity. I don't know what Zuzu has.
I have.
Sorry, my headset fell off and I could
No,
hear nothing.
you're good.
What?
I have tracking specifically as a training. I could do the treasured insight, and then you could make the roll, unless you want to make the treasured insight. That would make a lot of rolls with consequences. And
So whatever makes the most sense. I
I want to do whatever makes you happy.
can't hear.
You're gonna make the roll.
I'm rolling. What the hell?
I'm
am I
rolling
rolling?
first.
So a quick like rules clarification in that your main way of filling the diagnosis clock is using the "here's what I got" move. It's also the "make a deal" move, but there's not really a whole bunch of people up here to do so with.
Yeah.
So if you feel like you have a piece of the puzzle and you would like to try to, add it into the diagnosis, by all means.
I mean, could I retroactively have done "here's what I got" when I suggested, because I didn't look at the moves, smelling like them, so maybe they won't attack us?
Absolutely.
Eight.
8. So 7, 2, 9, you get to pick
So
one.
pick one. Let's mark a success on the clock.
Beautiful.
We already know the wound, and we're about to track it. So
You have 2 segments left for your diagnosis clock.
I rolled an 8 on Treasured Insight total. So you still get the +1. But absolutely the Vickers in Trouble is kind of in its attempt to kind of help you and communicate the other findings it's getting and be your communication point. It's decided to stand on the snout of King Koopa, and all the other birds are flying around, and it's probably just messing with Koopa just a little bit. It's just annoying.
The birds just chittering and just back and forth, occasionally just getting a little too close, and you feel the feathers just brush across your head. But yeah, Zuzu, you'd have a +1 for whatever move you'd like to pull.
I believe was the follow the trail.
Sure. So 2d6 plus acuity.
Oh. That is a 6.
So
Plus
all 3 are
wait, what's
true.
my acuity? Oh, 0.
You added the +1 for the assistance from Ishmael?
7.
That makes a big difference. So you only have to pick one from either you disturb something you shouldn't have, you lose your trail, but you find yourself somewhere interesting, or you break something important.
Oh. Well, the trail is important. Let's not disturb things. Because I have enough of an issue with that anyways. I will say with all of the birds picking on poor Koopa, and I've got Bickers and Trouble over here just what to win. And so at one point I just turn and I point a little too fast, and I accidentally break Koopa's harness.
Oh no! I'm not writing anything down. I'm not writing. Don't worry about me.
The
I'm
tears
not
just start
writing
to
that
well.
down. You writing that down?
Tears just start to well in her eyes, and she's just like family heirloom. And again,
This is why we can't have nice things.
Koopa's big old bulldog dragon eyes just look at you for a moment. A creature that could easily swallow you in one gulp just looks offended and a little startled at just this harness just snapping and just hitting the ground.
I didn't mean.
Reaches down,
Bad.
grabs it in his big old mouth, and just holds it up to you.
I try and we'll fix it when we get home, buddy. And I'll just drape it over his head like a nice little, it's fine.
Got a little bit of a slump, but continues walking.
Give him some breadcrumbs. It's okay. It's okay.
By this point, you're hitting past midday, approaching into the evening. Which one of you would say is in the lead at the moment?
Because I was following the trail? Question mark?
Sure.
Probably shouldn't be, but you know.
We believe. You got this.
I just make monsters shiny and pretty and make them happy.
And you're so determined to find the monster so that we can make them shiny and pretty that you're leading.
Yes, good.
There is the crack of thunder again, this time so very close that it is almost deafening. And it just washes over this part of the spire. That mist that's been gathering, that electrified mist, starts to build and build, causing hairs in your arms to stand up. Just everything starts to feel fuzzy and almost a little bit numb. Through the clouds, through that electrified air, you can see glimmers of gold being reflected by that last little bit of sunlight as something long just trails across the sky. Unsure if it saw you, but those little bits where you can almost see it through the cloud is just a beacon of gold. Looks crystalline in whatever part you can see, but it's hard to make out too many details. It's not a griffin. It's far too long to be a griffin.
You guys saw that, right? I'm not seeing things.
Yeah. Anyone got an idea on that?
Not
Did it leave any kind? Well, okay. Question.
Mhm.
I have specialties, and one of them includes I can identify I can distinguish creature tracks at a glance.
Mhm.
Now, flying creatures are a bit harder to distinguish track, but if we're talking about large airborne, potentially mega predators,
Mhm.
like the way they part clouds or anything that's behind. Is this like you have a thing? Sorry.
No, I was just like saying it. It's flying, so it doesn't leave track.
Oh no, okay, yeah, but like it's high up on a mountain and maybe it's losing scale or feathers and
I would say that a flight
trappings.
pattern counts as a track.
It's like
What if-
following a Boeing 747 in the skies. It breaks atmosphere.
This is very draconic.
Dragons.
That. Okay.
A dragon.
Did anybody mention dragons?
No. But it's increased. Now, I almost feel it.
Could I put forward a hypothesis? Not just about the monster's condition, but rather, I guess about the monster's condition, but rather about the environment's condition due to the monster's condition?
Yeah.
Sweet. All right. That is a 9.
Tabletop Obscura, thank you so much for the raid. We are out here saving some monsters today. Yeah, what move are you trying to do?
Here's what I got. So I'd like to fill in a segment because I want to put forward a hypothesis that
So, sorry. If you do have aces that you can use, it adds a d4 that would automatically put you at a 10 plus.
True.
You have one party
Yeah.
ace that was given to you
It's a
by
funny-
chat.
Use it. Use it.
all right.
Do it, do it, do it.
That's a 1, so that's
Still,
a 10.
it's a 10 plus, so you get to pick two.
All right. I'll mark one clock segment as successful, and let's gain a session ace.
Beautiful. So replenishing your ace.
Yes, gotta keep those things restocked.
Yeah.
He's
Pay
going
it
to
forward.
exactly
Wish for another wish.
double it for the next one. Ishmael is going to kind of like get a little bit closer to the ground as it flies over and kind of, I don't know. Do we could kind of like feel it, the electricity in the air move as it's moving through, and
It hits you like a wave.
Dragons, they are powerful enough to change the environment they exist in. This could be an invasive creature driven by the fool's gold.
I know it was like a really like kind of quick flash.
Mhm.
But one of my specialties is being able to read monsters' behaviors.
Ooh.
Did they seem more like they're protecting something, or like they're more like they're on guard,
It
or they're
definitely
just
it
leisurely
seemed
flying around?
way more agitated than protection. Like the movement was so erratic at times that it's almost like it was trying to fend something off for a moment.
Good news is that there might not be a nest because it wasn't flying like it was trying to protect its living place, but it was still very erratic, very aggressive.
Possible that a monster's entire behavior could cause a storm like this, cause this kind of chaos? Could he just be like, I know you said it kind of seems like he's affecting it, but could it literally just be like the world's biggest temper tantrum? Like,
It could be.
If they're powerful enough.
Yeah. And it was very large.
I didn't even see a full bit of it, and I can feel that it must be some kind of powerful.
I mean, if it's strong enough to gather a force of a storm, no wonder the griffins are attracted to this area.
Attracted, or are they being summoned? Do you think it's on purpose?
Or has this thing come in and attacked them and infected them?
It is gold. And if it might have clawed them in some way, if that could be the way it's getting infected.
I mean, it might not. The attraction of the griffins on the dragon's part might not be intentional. There was a lot of gold that we saw just from here. Can you imagine if we were closer? It might not be able to control its magic at this point.
Gold flash
Take something that much. Sorry.
No, you're fine. Sorry. The gold flash that we saw, could we surmise if that was fool's gold, or is that more of its natural coloring?
Was not natural coloring.
Okay.
Should we try to walk closer to the storm that it seems like it's either creating or summoning somehow? If it says the griffins are going towards it, that might just be the place we need to head right into for chaos.
I think so. I mean, didn't I'm looking back in our chat. There's so many messages. Where's the name? There's so many bird gifts, everybody. Eric did
gossip.
say that it was almost like the griffins could feel it, so maybe they're trying to stop something or they're trying to help.
I guess in the end, it really matters about whether the dragon needs to be soothed or is causing the chaos. Well, I mean, I can't figure out how to word it the way that I want to word it. But whether like they're trying to help or it's trying to cause it to begin with, kind of thing. Like, does it need to be healed or stopped? Can't get words today.
Assuming that you are walking while this conversation is taking place, you would eventually come to a fork in the path. To your left, it does continue up the edge of the spire, just, hammered into it, ropes thickly bound, hold this like spiraling bridge up the outer edge of the spire. The other path seems like it cuts through a natural cavern. Hard to tell exactly where that would lead. But you have your choice.
Not all at once.
Are there any footprints or anything that shows that anyone went in that direction? Anything?
Not at this point.
And what time of day is it now?
Early evening. You probably have a couple hours until it gets dark.
I mean, I know there's no trail going up there, but is it possible we could come across some of the people that came out here to begin with? Maybe they're taking solace in a cave?
Say it's
I mean,
worth checking.
Yeah, if I was in a storm like this, and who knows what they've, misplaced or supplies that they've lost on the way, maybe they're in there.
yeah, and depends on how long they've been here, too. We might not even be able to see tracks from them if it's been a while.
And if the storm is as bad as it is, it could probably cover their tracks.
That's true.
Blow my...
Let's give it a shot.
You're heading into the cave system.
Yes.
The sounds of the storm that you've been growing accustomed to would start to grow more faint. Not even realizing that it's starting to become a normality. Now the absence of that constant cracking, constant thunderous rippling. It's so very quiet. The occasional just boom of thunder does echo through like a freight train, and then follows once again by silence. You would find, first and foremost, tools, mining implements, titans, ropes, hammers, signs that people have been through here.
Any signs of where they went? Is that going to be a rule?
I mean, there are smaller, paths that kind of lead off, but the one large main path seems to be the only reliable way forward.
Mining equipment.
Kind of look around and ask, like, are we looking to go through the cave system or just kind of seek solace for the night?
A little bit of both.
If people were
mean,
here
I guess-
seeking the riches, they would have sheltered further within their caves to find solace from the storm and the griffins.
How far in?
How far in would you flee from a raging griffin?
How far in would you flee from a dragon?
Or
I mean, we're the people chasing after the dragon, so technically we're going towards it, not away from it, but
We see how far it goes down. Not all the way, but just to be certain.
okay.
Leave no one isolated up here. I take my canaries into the coal mine.
They're
Oh
Oh my
very
god.
No, they're not.
At least you know if the canary dies, it's not safe.
No. I will die first.
you get about another 200-ish meters into this cave system. before hearing movement. Something, brushing against cavern walls, almost thrashing against them, but in a very, very muted, almost restrained type fashion.
Investigate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pushing
Hello.
on.
Or discretion.
You kind of follow the winding path until it starts to open up a little. There are shreds of rope leading up this small encampment, more tools, more packs, camping equipment, all of it trashed. And one very angry, heavily injured griffin, wings bound, legs bound, looks exhausted and has just been like slamming itself into the walls, just trying to scrape its binds against the stone. It's not quite fool's gold level of frenzy, but it's very much in a state of panic.
Griffin's howling. Let's move in.
Oh,
I'm just gonna throw it a treat of bread, like right off the bat, to try and get it to like calm down, eat the food, so the others can swoop in.
Moment that it starts to notice you, it just lets out this deep hiss and starts to, try to scoot itself back. It's unable to get to its feet, but it's trying.
Yeah. You mentioned it's caught in nets, yeah?
There are shreds of net, but there's like chains and ropes, things that it has not yet been able to break through.
Maddie would start approaching it with her hands out, kind of in a submissive kind of way, like very non-threatening. Because one of her other specialties is she has a trusting presence, but she also has these gloves they're kind of scaly, but they're also really plush. They're sensory gloves to help calm monsters in distress. It helps Cordelia a lot. But what I'd really like to do is use my bond move. And I might get eaten by this griffin.
What does your bond move do?
If you want, we can let Rhea do some wrangling a little bit before you go in and try to immediately calm it.
Well, I was also saying that I could
Maddie's going
start...
right in.
I was gonna say I could also start humming the second that we see the griffin. So I figured my specialty can't just like instantly put anything to sleep, but like the more agitated it is, I'm basically thinking it'll take a little bit longer to soothe it, but like it'll still at least start to like slowly calm down with me humming.
Yeah.
And hopefully that'll give Maddie more of an ability to approach it in like a calmer setting. So like the second we walk in and we see the griffin, like that'll be the first thing that Rhea thinks to do.
Yeah. You want to roll your treasured insight?
Yeah.
Then Maddie, roll up your bond.
That just be 2d6.
Plus whatever relevant stats that you feel would apply.
Okay.
Probably whatever's linked to your music.
So my move is called Bond.
Mhm.
When you spend time near a monster while figuring out what is wrong with it, you can deliberately try to bond with them. I have to roll a lure, which luckily I put points into that. Okay, so 11. On a 10 plus, you make a connection with the monster. Start the symbiosis phase on the spot with one spot up on the control track.
Beautiful.
Need my 8 for musician anyway, so
It definitely helps. As this thing is eventually calmed by the pair of you, between the sound of the music and just the calming presence, you're able to get up to it. Start undoing the chains and the ropes. And you see patches where there were feathers. It's very raw, they are still fresh wounds, but it looks like instead of feathers, it's it's like they're trying to grow patches of scales. Very much dragon-esque scales.
Uh, Cordelia, maybe we can reattach the feathers, but it looks like it's turning into a dragon.
Yeah, that's and at this point, Cordelia is like, she was fully ready to just like take a pair of operating scissors to these like ropes and stuff, but luckily, we could untie it just fine. Yeah, she would like to take a closer look at that, and I guess form a hypothesis. So let's try it. Here's what I got.
Yeah,
If we're still in that phase.
absolutely.
And tell you what, I will apply. Yeah, monster biology. Let's do it. That feels appropriate for this.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's a 14. Let's go.
You get 2.
All right. Yeah. Yeah, let's mark a clock segment. Let's do that. And then yeah, like let's learn the names and effects of that wound. Why are their scales growing?
Get back down to the moves. The lightning storm that this thing seems to be bringing with it is not only involuntary, but it seems like creatures that have been trapped in it, start to take on aspects of the creature that's causing it. It's very much at war with not only the environment, but the creatures in it. Which could explain why the griffins banded together to come and stop this.
Mm-hmm.
Not only does this thing physically affect those that are around it, but it modifies the terrain, the weather, the temperature, the pure biology of anything near it. And none of it is voluntary.
So, do I think that it would currently make a difference to actually like treat the patchy scales, or would it be something that would regress over time if we get rid of the main
It
problem?
would regress over time.
Okay. Yeah, I guess you're right. It would be hard to add feathers to this, but I think it would probably regress if we found what's going on with that dragon and things would go back to normal, both in our patient here and hopefully in the environment, because both are a little screwy.
So the dragon's the overarching issue.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it does arch over everything.
Although it's really strange, and like at that point, Cordelia, now that like the adrenaline stopped pumping, is looking around, and is there any evidence of people being here recently? Because some person had to do this.
Absolutely. There is, however, no sign of your insignia, that classic red that all of the monster care squads tend to wear in some fashion or another. Whoever this is, they're not with you. Once this creature is... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, did this look malicious more so? Like, did this look like this thing was being hunted to kind of be taken out of the picture instead of just to protect people?
Yeah, I would say so.
So we're dealing with more than just one issue here.
Mm-hmm.
The moment it is free, it does just kind of go up to each of you very much staring at you. This feathered, angry, bloodied griffin face. But underneath that, there's still that shred of nobility. And one by one, just a very soft and gentle headbutt. And then turn and start, at first, just a ginger walk, stretching out the legs, stretching out the wings, and then taking off into a full sprint towards the mouth of the cavern.
It seems like it can fly okay.
Seems like
It
it.
wasn't okay. Okay.
You did critically succeed at that, so you have a critical ace to use in the final stage of the game, which means that you can add a d8 to a roll by spending that ace. And that officially brings us into the synthesis part of the game, where you have the clues that you need, you have an idea of what's happening, maybe not exactly knowing how to solve it, but you have enough of an idea that you can start trying to come up with a remedy. And I'm going to give the cast and crew some time to think about this while we jump to a quick break. Give everyone the chance to grab a drink, stretch your legs, do what you gotta do, and we'll come back with the next phase of Monster Care Squad. See you soon, everybody. And welcome back. Where we left off, we had pieced together clues about what was actually happening. Some large draconic creature having been infested by the Fool's Gold, causing its own natural abilities to turn against itself, its own lightning to cause it harm and pain, striking out randomly, its body emanating this miasma that it has no control over, that turns things crystalline. Its presence starting to turn the terrain and the creatures around it more draconic, almost infecting it. But we are now in the second phase of Monster Care Squad. We're in synthesis, where we come up with a plan to help cure this creature. Whatever rituals or remedies or medicines that you feel you would need, now is your chance to piece it together and get ready for the final encounter.
Do we know any of the properties of the miasma that the dragon is giving off?
It is airborne, and it seems once a creature is infected, it does become a bloodborne malady. But short of that, once the miasma fades, there's no danger.
Cordelia, are there any natural respirators that might be in the area that we can try and find and fashion for everyone so we don't breathe it in?
We can definitely take a look around. There's gotta be something around here. And I would like to use my move. There's gotta be something around here. So you're running low on bandages. Maybe you lost your binoculars, or your matches get soaked. Whatever it is, when you're scavenging the area looking for anything, you can roll plus a grit. On a +10, you can find a lost pack, gain 2 supply. 7 to 9, you see something sticking out of the mud, 1 supply. And on a 6 or below, you lose 1 supply. So I'll have to see what happens. That is a 12. So we find 2 supply.
Okay. I would say that if you wanted to spend one of those supply, it would certainly take, some kind of protective, you know, mouth and nose apparatuses that would help protect against the miasma. It's not perfect, but it would definitely help. It's not going to do
We're
anything
wearing
should you...
masks.
Go ahead.
We're wearing masks in game too.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just reality.
Yeah, like actual surgical mask was like, okay, like Cordelia kind of fashions like a little something. Uses some of the twine left over from like the encampment to like make little like straps so you can like put it around your faces. That should work, maybe, hopefully.
It's not going to do anything should you become infected, but it's should help to prevent you from reaching that stage.
We still have to figure out how to get rid of the miasma altogether.
Closing the wounds should fix that, right? They're born from its wounds. It's blood-based miasma. We get on. It's a matter of getting on and wrangling the dragon. And there we close the wounds, cease the bleeding. The miasma dissipates once the fool's goal is purged from its system.
Airborne, though, it might be something that your net wrangling might be a little bit more helpful with, so we could do it from a distance.
We'll have to interact with the dragon one way or the other. Getting it within range of a net will be the trick. I'd actually like to try and make a... Okay, here's the plan roll.
Sure.
Okay. Not good at fine, but that is an 8. Or rather, no, -1, 7. So on a 7-9, I just pick one.
Mm-hmm.
And the Guide Mensel. So my plan is to create, trying to incorporate the group strengths we have here, is to basically bait the dragon just fly lower to the ground with incentives of food or even some of the diamonds, the gems we have nearby to create a kind of distracting presence. Having it swoop down there, putting it into, getting it, tied down, or at least attaching a line to it to get us on board. So as it's flying away, we can go along, get up onto it, wrangle, and then start healing the injury from there as we go through the symbiosis phase.
So, what one would you like?
What do we need to make this plan work?
You had mentioned a lightning rod when we first left. This thing's wounds are 100% self-inflicted. The lightning that is trailing along it is opening up wounds that is causing that miasma to pour out. So drawing away the electricity is going to stop it from raking itself with those wounds. It's going to give you a chance to approach this thing, to pin it down and start healing it without that miasma pouring off of every single lightning streak. So someone would have to be manning a lightning rod.
I can speak with Arid about perhaps using some materials we find to create a lightning rod. I have the netting. From there, it will be on all of you to apply your healing to it.
If I can get close enough to it, I can try and bond with it. Might make removing the fool's gold easier.
Maybe. Either way, it'll be a battle.
Yeah, so long as you all can keep the sharp teeth and the sharp claws away from me, I can stitch it up fast.
Zuzu can feed it.
I've got bread. and I've got very minor healing with Presto. I can do a little bit of both. Not very. I can also make things shiny for it to maybe want to come down. And Koopa is staying out of the way because he's not getting infected.
If Zuzu can create bait, then Rhea and myself can assist others in keeping them safe while you perform your tasks.
Yeah.
Illusionary bait.
Zuzu, would you like to roll the, okay, here's the plan for bait?
Right.
Plus
2d6s?
2d6 plus fine.
Plus. Okay. Can I use my ace?
Absolutely.
So that's a. What
D4.
do I add? D4. Thank you. Eight.
That's a success. You get to pick one.
Feel like we. It's an unforeseen risk to this plan.
I think that would be finding out that it has been baited, landing, and turning on those that are trying to pin it down to help.
I feel like that's very foreseeable. I feel like we know we're all gonna get eaten.
But being the fact that you do have griffin feathers, griffin scent, and griffin blood, and those things have specifically come to try to help, adding those to the bait would definitely be a pretty huge boon.
I'm adding Maddie to the bait.
I was gonna say, it sounds like Maddie's gonna be dragon bait.
I jest.
But the thing is I had that same exact thought.
We can't die in this game, right?
You can't receive damage.
We can probably get swallowed, though.
Ah.
Technically not
They
damaged, but you
swallow
also don't
her
come
ability.
back.
You
That's
become
just-
one with the monsters.
then it just becomes a foreign
Is
body
that not
surgery.
the goal
at
of the
that
game
point.
all along?
I don't want to do a foreign body surgery.
So, you have a means of attracting it. You have a means of safely performing your procedure. All you're missing is the actual remedy.
It's probably an important part of it.
Well, we
That sounds like a shopping list thing.
Well, that's when you already figure it out, right?
Oh.
We'd have to already know what would help.
I think that you are all skilled enough that you would have an idea of what you might find out here. Natural plants that the floating spires grow, and you would know that you'd need parts of this thing in order to make something that would interact with it. Little component of the dragon itself. That probably being the most dangerous.
I know shopping list says to roll with acuity,
Mhm.
but I have apothecarology under fine. Is there any way I could potentially do a little swap?
Absolutely.
Cool. Okay. So then that would be a +1 for apothecarology. And then rolling 2d6. Okay, that is 7, 8. On a 7 through 9, there's a middleman or a barrier between you and what you need. Figure out how to get around it or spend 1 supply to make it go away.
So, The main ingredient that you're needing, something that is going to bypass a dragon's natural resistance, is something called Wyvern's Heart. It's a plant, vibrant red. It grows with flowers that spread out like wings. These jagged green, leafy stems and flowers that look very much like wyvern wing. They grow on the edge of the floating spires, which requires a little bit of rock climbing. Bless you.
Thank you. I do have hiking. I don't know if I have rock climbing per se, but hiking is one of my backgrounds.
Yeah.
What is rock climbing if not hiking, but with more elevation?
Yeah, I just hike the really steep mountains. That's basically I just climb right up the side of the mountain. I don't use the trails. So
You moon jump.
yeah.
Well,
You move your bouncy shoes.
I literally have well, that won't help if I fall though.
But I
course
do
it
have
will.
a
You'll
Unless
flying
I
dragon.
propel my unless I propel myself off the side of the spire and am somehow able to just loop back up. Oh, wait, Ishmael has rope. So if I fall,
Hmm.
I also have a flying fat ass if you fall.
that's true. That's true.
so
We might,
There's
we might
no
need-
risk here. We're fine.
We might need some Ishmael rope for a, makeshift harness, but
how would you feel about rolling a take on the world?
Take on the world. With force. Okay, do I have force? I do. I have a +1 to force.
I would say that's between Koopa and Ishmael's rigging components. You would have at least a +2 to this.
All right. So that's a +3 because I also have +1 for force.
Bless you.
I rolled a 5, but I'm going to use my my ace for this. Because 5, that would still be a 7, but I feel like I kind of just...
You said +3, right?
I can't do math, it's an 8.
That is an 8, but if you can get a 10 or higher, that is definitely boom.
Right, which is why I'm going to roll my d4 and use my ace to get 2, which brings me to an even 10.
So you get to pick 2, which is marking a successful segment, gaining another session ace, getting a supply, or learn the name and effects of the one final wound.
Well, I'm definitely not going to do all of this and not gain the supply. So, right off the bat, I gain 1 supply.
So, if gaining the actual ingredients would be marking the clock segment.
Oh, okay. Perfect. So I mark 1 clock segment, and then I will make sure I learn the name and effects of the 1 wound, just because if I'm about to go and grapple it, I'd like to know what I'm dealing with.
That would be its ability to cause razor rain. This is rain that is so fierce, so biting cold, that it feels like shards of falling glass.
Good thing we all packed for rain.
Mm-hmm.
Will it cut through clothes, do we know?
100%.
Okay. Okay. Does anyone have any ideas of how we could potentially protect ourselves from razor-like rain? Something that wouldn't get shattered or torn. I mean, I guess we could almost try. We could make sure we're close to the lip of the cave entrance, if that's possible, if we're close enough to that.
Could I do a shopping list for some kind of really goopy kind of amber that can... I don't know, I'm kind of thinking like a glue that doesn't harden kind of thing.
You can just apply so that it can get cut and serrated and then just kind of be blobby around us as we're going in amongst the rain. Kind of used as a coating for whatever
Yeah.
other materials we're wearing.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna make a shopping list. I'm gonna use my network of bird gossip.
I know that Zuzu is immediately going to rebel against this idea, but Koopa does have a tough dragon exterior, much more tough than any of your human skins, and should it come down to it, could absolutely provide a barrier between the rain and those trying to heal this creature.
So I got a 7. So there's a middleman or a barrier between you and what you need.
Make you a deal. You're able to kind of venture off, get this, it's, you know, a mixture of kind of this mud, waxy plants, substance, very much giving you that little protective barrier, but you are out for the last little bit of the synthesis.
Okay, so could I do that as part of making the lightning rod, like on the way down?
Oh,
the mountain?
100%, yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, I'm comfortable with that. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll go and get some slack.
Yeah.
Something like it looks like a grows on mountain. It accumulates in mountains and causes mudslides sometimes.
The razor rain, does it come from its mouth or just out of its body in all directions?
It's more that it can violently affect the weather.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Was it not the wyvern's heart that was supposed to neutralize the defenses of the dragon?
Yes.
Does that count?
That probably wouldn't protect you if the rain were to start. If you could neutralize the defenses before the weather started, absolutely.
So yeah,
But it
so
might-
basically this is the anesthetic, but it's
Yes.
It might not be happy
administering the
about being
anesthetic.
grappled in the process of
Yeah. This is going to be like
mean-
pilling a cat, a very big cat.
You have
push-
a means of attracting
Oh, boy.
it, a means of getting to it safely, a means of getting past its draconic defenses. Your last ingredient would be part of its own infection, reverse engineering it and making an antidote out of it.
Could we use that infected blood we found?
That was griffin blood, dragon blood.
Still infected with its own virus?
But like the griffins were starting to grow scales almost like they were dragons. So does that not count?
You could
The
certainly try it.
transitive property.
If you're wrong,
Um.
that's a bad time to be wrong.
yeah, no, yeah.
How does the dragon have to get the wyvern into its system? Does it have to eat it? Can we inject it?
Yeah.
That's
Is
like,
it like
I
a-
don't know, we could have
a
a
lather?
novel application.
Yeah.
Try everything.
So I would ask for a take on the world, or whoever would like to lead in getting that final ingredient. Whether it's the dragon's blood, if you can think of a way to get that, if you can get those crystals off of it, if you any piece of it would do, no matter how small.
We
Think-
wouldn't theoretically be able to grapple it first, and in the process of getting it grappled and down, grab some of its blood to. We'd have to probably roll to make something out of.
You
the
would
blood,
need
right?
time to then synthesize.
Okay.
But if, as
Okay.
part of a take on the world, you could draw its attention.
Okay, hear me out.
I mean, if
It's a little crazy, but I have a flying dragon, lizard, pug thing. That technically speaking, we could, try and do a flyby.
I could Also, before we have to resort to that, because I know you probably don't want to put Koopa in harm, I could roll my Crikey skill, which lets me find a piece of useful information about the monster's abilities, demeanor, or habits, and see if there's some kind of useful information there about where we might be able to even like find a nest for it that might potentially have some part of it on there, or maybe just something that would like have it swoop down really fast and not actually, I don't know, get it closer to us, kind of like summon it closer. Would that be helpful? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I think this, so basically it says, you've always loved and been fascinated by monsters and have discovered a deft touch for them quite literally when you exclaim in uncontained excitement and go up to speed, and go to pick up a monster, roll a lure. So kind of like, all of a sudden, I think there would just be a moment where Rhea just gets so overwhelmed with like, oh my god, we're doing this. Like, what is happening right now? And like kind of getting that like anxious excitement. And then,
Yeah.
Crikey. And yeah.
Fucking
And
what
she
a-
rolls a 7. So, lose something in the tussle. The monster pins you, steps back, 1 on the control track, place an ally in danger, or the info you get is limited, clouded, or uncertain.
If you're hunting its nest, I feel there's 2 of those that very much would apply.
Mm-hmm. I don't want to lose any part of the I might just lose something, just because I think that, because I'm thinking either that or the info could give you limited or clouded or uncertain answers, and I think we kind of need a straight answer right now, so I'm okay with losing something right now. I just need to think of what that would be.
Would just offer from your friendly guide, in your search for its nest, finding the parts, the high spires where it does seem to come to rest, and you find bits of scales, you find its blood just splattered at points along the wall where it just slammed into it. In the attempt at recovering it, you are seen. It does come down to defend its lair, and you'd lose that protective layer that you have, as it would just rip away those, that rubber coating, just pull off whatever lightning protections you have if you're okay losing.
Would just be for me.
Just you.
Okay. This
and
might be bad for trying to grapple it later, but
so what would you like to grab
seems fair.
as you just sprint into its nest, hearing it screech on an approach to stop you?
I think I'd try to grab some scales, and if there is any blood that is wet enough still, I'll see if I can, like, I have apothecarology, so we're supposed to be able to have whatever potential tools we might need, so I'm assuming I might have a spare vial that I can kind of scoop up a little bit of blood as well.
Yeah.
Carefully, obviously, not... We know the risks here, miasma, we've heard that part, so, not, like... I'll, like, hold it very carefully.
I have a character question for you.
Okay.
In that moment of it landing and finally getting a good look at this thing, a long, almost serpentine-like creature with those golden crystals just jutting up out of its body unnaturally, painfully. Its face, at one point, was so elegant, now twisted in pain and hatred. It takes multiple swipes at you as you quickly just try to get in and out. It does manage to rip through your protective layer. Does it actually draw blood? Does it rip through your clothes and into your skin? %, your decision.
I mean, I don't want it to, but
It did-
I'd have to assume if it's in a very frantic situation, I feel like it might cause damage. So
Okay. Then would you roll for Take on the World, please? This is a +2 at least from your Crikey ability. Let's go with the +4. Sounds right.
okay. Okay. Alright, gotta hope for this. Okay, that's a 9. What, and that's that 9 base, and then you
The
said +4,
13,
so
yeah. That is going to, I'm going to say, automatically give you the final segment, because that is the final piece. And you get to choose something else. Gain a supply or a session ace.
I think we're gonna need the session ace.
Okay. With the second clock filled, critically again.
I was like, can we like right before we do that? Because I have a move for the synthesis phase and I don't think I can use it after this.
Yeah.
Yeah, seeing that that Raya got, a little beat up and the protective layer is now gone, Cordelia is going to like try to like think on her feet and think like, okay, what could we use to replace this just for a short time? What can ground? She's going to take some mud, be like, I'm so sorry, and just kind of like put mud on Raya, and try to make a protective layer that even if it doesn't last for a long time, it'll last. With the I hope this works move. It would be nice if you had everything you needed, but sometimes you're missing that one crucial ingredient or tool to get you to a successful treatment. But you can always improvise. When you explain how you can compensate with the options at hand, roll plus grit.
Love it.
I'm gonna try.
Also, when you say I'm so sorry, she's just gonna be like, I don't even think this is the worst thing I've gotten covered with today, so it's probably
That's
fine.
fair. That's fair. And would it be fine for me to add analytical thinking to this?
Absolutely.
Okay, I'm gonna do that. Okay, ooh, that's nice. Okay, that is a 11. So, yeah, on a 10 plus, it just barely works. Gain an ace.
You gain an ace or I gain an Well,
I think I don't.
It's a
don't
party
know.
ace. Anyone can
Okay,
It's
use
a
it.
party
cool.
ace. Okay, I like it.
Cool.
I like it.
So,
And
Cool.
Rhea will be very, really, very grateful because she's probably like a little spooked by the fact that she just got attacked. So she's very grateful for being covered in mud in this exact moment.
yeah, Cordelia, you'd see just down, probably from like the top of the shoulder down to the collarbone, just these 2 deep lacerations.
Do I need to go get war paint so I can also have gashes?
Uh,
and
They're-
props?
they're not bleeding.
Oh,
Oh,
are
that
they?
worries me a little bit.
Are they crystallizing?
No.
Okay, that's fine. We just got the thing to help this, so let's do that.
So
And also, this kind of helps a little bit with me grappling it if I'm already potentially. Anyway,
the clock is full, which means it's time to move on. Every segment is a success. So, we are going to just have one of you roll 2d6 plus 4. And this is going to bring us into the final confrontation.
Wants to roll.
is this just 2d6 for anything, or is it like a specific?
It's just 2d6.
move?
It's for the pharmacy move, but it is just it's just 2d6.
Who wants to do it?
Oh, if it's for pharmacy, is there any way I can add my apothecariology to it?
Unfortunately, it only adds the number of successful segment.
Gotcha. Okay, so then anyone could really roll. Just depends on who feels lucky right now.
You could make Tessa do it.
Yeah.
I was thinking the same
Yeah.
thing. I was like, Zuzu should do it.
We trust you.
Go, Kuba.
You have the power.
The king-a-ling-a-ding, mong fat ass. Go.
There's a 4.
5 plus 4, or is
Oh, 9.
9.
Yay!
So in a 7 to a 9, you either get a critical ace, which is a one-time use plus of a d8 in the final confrontation, or you can choose where you're confronting this monster. You can talk about a trap that you set for it. You can talk about an ally that you want to have with you. Or you can choose a major modification to your equipment that you made.
So, thinking about this in group wise, we have armor and modifications to our armor that prevents it from being slashed by the rain or immediately electrocuted. Great. We have the lightning rod I've constructed after a really badass blacksmithing montage that was off screen. And, yeah, it's gonna be in this. It's gonna be in the side character series. It's gonna be awesome.
It'd be beautiful.
Yeah, it's like super great. Netting, I kind of have it. It's not one of my specialized tools, but it could maybe use a bit of a buff. Is the only thing I'm immediately thinking of. It's in regards to the trap. But we could also, I mean, the critical ace, critical ace. That's an extra D4 if we need it. If we're feeling
D8.
like
D8. It's a
D8.
D8.
Oh,
So that
Okay,
means that we
well.
would have 2 D8s for this last segment.
what is a D8 if not two D4s stuck together?
Stuck together, there's not a lot of chances of you getting an 8. Because there's a lot of, like, ones that could be...
Let me
anyway.
live my dream.
I'm sorry, live your best dreams.
Thank you. So critical ace is nice, but we could also set the battle or improve our chances with the trap. Is
Mhm.
my immediate thoughts. So
So I do also have a special move for helping grapple it. So between the two of us, we can get it down, and then hopefully between Maddie bonding with it and my character could also try to sing to try to calm it down a little bit too. That could
Okay.
help just the whole situation of having it trapped.
and Cordelia goes in. Zuzu, your talents lie more in cleaning things and getting them all pristine. That's one of your specialties, right?
Well, I can do a little bits of magic, so I was gonna help with the drawing in and then help with the healing.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just thinking if you had any, you mentioned making like things sparkle. I don't know. My brain was like, oh, you can clean wounds. Excellent.
I mean,
But presto, absolutely could. Yeah. Okay, so maybe we just buff the trap or just take the critical ace.
do you want to, where we confront the monster, do you want to lay down the where we're going to get it? Because at this point, I mean, it could come at us anywhere, right?
That's true. If we state where we're gonna put it, we could even make sure that it's near the mouth of the cave so we can be covered from the rain a little bit more too.
I mean, I don't mind being the bait and the first encounter that it sees. That way you guys can all maybe Rhea can kind of have my back from the cave humming as it gets closer, starting to calm it. And hopefully as it gets closer to me, it feels a little more at ease.
I have
And then
idea. Sorry, you finish.
everybody else can come in from behind.
I have an idea to maximize a cave. So we set up kind of like a bird trap. They set up to catch migratory bird. You know, you put 2 poles out and with a net in between. So we set something up like that because the crystalline formations here have a kind of translucent web-like quality. It might not distinguish that from the natural look of the cave beforehand if we make them with a fine enough material, but with the strength, maybe applying some of that, you know, resistant slick slag to it. I remember the nonsense word I made up a few minutes ago, so you know that was tough. Net Brea jumps on and gets its like head more comfortably into the cave. So as it's like sliding in restrained, as we, you know, get it out of the air, it slides in. Within the cave, we have Calm Team. So Rhea's riding that in and getting it into a good spot. Maddie can immediately get to it, doing your thing, the best boops on snoots. And then the other 2 can be in the side pockets these miners up here have created to go in and get it at its body. And then I can get it and make sure it doesn't, you know, wrangle around too much by be like keeping its tail in control. Such whatever appendages it's got. Plan?
Yeah,
At-
I like it.
The added effect of choosing the bonus of getting to dictate where you do this is that you could set up the lightning rod beforehand in a stationary place, secured, so that no one would have to babysit it.
Perfect. Yeah, I'll put that right at the over top of the mouth if possible.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we are taking our location.
We're going with that one.
We're taking
right.
our location.
If that's the case, then I'm gonna make sure I talk about my other specialty really fast, which is I'm very good at parkour. So I can help wrangle really
Ooh.
big, like I can get like at a good angle to be able to even like jump at it if I have to. And also my special equipment is this pair of like almost like moon shoes, but better than like the moon shoes that were actually a thing in the like 90s, early 2000s. But they're kind of like Heelys too, because they're regular shoes until I like kick them or something, or like press a button so that they turn into moon shoes.
Excuse me.
And then
better than
that
moon
helps
shoes?
me just bounce to a good optimal place, so when it does start swooping in, I can jump on it.
Absolutely.
There's nothing better than moon shoes.
Well,
They just get a little bit more height than the original moon shoes, because I feel like
Possible.
I was never able to get on top of a cave entrance or up a tree with the original moon shoes, you know?
I did post a song. It is aptly called Protector of the Sky,
Go Audrini, I love.
as we enter the final stage, the symbiosis.
Zuzu, do you think you can make me sparkly so I'm a little more distracting?
Absolutely. Sparkles.
We no longer have a clock. Instead, we have a track. This goes from a D4 up to a D12. The monster starts at a D12, you all start at a D4, but thanks to Maddie's efforts beforehand, you're actually starting at a D6. As the thunder echoes again, you can see it now starting to cut through the fog, leaving these jagged trails behind it. All of you now getting a better view at this figure. A beautiful mane of lightning-filled white hair trails behind a single protruding blue horn, and all of that lightning seems to be just arcing off of it. Its scales are a pale white, and its body just extends into one long serpentine-like body, other than the wings that project it forward. It lets out a screech, part pain, part anger. And as it starts its descent towards your trap, immediately catching the sense and then sight of your bait of Maddie, you hear not one, not two, but 6 other cries, other screeches. In an almost military-esque formation, a small squadron of griffins will come swooping down, pestering this dragon, just raking across it, trying to batter it, noticing you and getting in the way, trying to force it your direction. For at least as long as there are griffins standing, there are 6 of them, they would put themselves in harm's way in your stead. Meaning that should an attack come aimed at you that might seem brutal or deadly, they are going to take it for you.
I thought this was a bad thing, and they were all swooping in to attack us at once.
Nope.
Same.
The
I
one-
don't know. I think it's worse that we sacrifice a griffin
Yeah.
to save ourselves.
The one that you
That's
rescued.
emotional damage.
I'm just glad it's not. I'm glad they're not attacking us, but we can help protect them by getting this monster like subdued as
Yeah.
quickly as possible.
The
I
one
thought they
that
were
you
all, like,
rescued.
dragon griffins.
Kind of. The one that you rescued does seem to be at the helm.
Greg.
But as this thing does slam into the side of the spire, causing rock shards to start raining down near Maddie and kind of near Rhea, I think, as the two of you are closest to the mouth of this cave. What would you like to do?
I'd like to start, if possible, with a we go on 3 between myself and Rhea to get this thing grappled up and
Mhm.
wrapped up nicely.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just standing there, a sparkly piece of.
Oh,
Wait.
I could name at least one other member of my
Mhm.
team. I want everybody in on this shenaniganery. So everyone who agrees, I'm going to use net wrangling as my skill here. But if anyone has anything that can help with getting a monster into the position we need it to be in, which I think is the reason I said Rhea versus just Rhea right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
You could both.
I really want to say the name of the skill that I'm going to use. It's called What Do You Have in Your Mouth?
So
He's been floating in the sky for so long. I'm so curious. Like, what do you have? What are you hiding?
So for we go on 3, you name up to one team, or at least one other teammate, and everyone that is part of this rolls 2d6 plus whatever relevant stat you have, and for every 10 plus amongst all of you that roll, you gain a hold. And this hold you can use in multiple ways. So is this just Ishmael and Rhea?
Well, I mean, I have a look what I got, and what I got is me.
You could certainly join in the roll. Yeah, all 3 of you, 2d6 plus whatever relevant stat you feel applies.
Roll the 9. I got a oh no, my force is 0. Oh no. Is anyone keeping track of our aces?
You have one group ace.
Okay.
Can I use an ace for my feathers? My feathers ace? My D4?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So you still
I'm
have
gonna
a
do that.
party-wide ace that you could use.
So
Could
I rolled
I-
a 9, which I know we need to roll a 10 for.
You can take the party ace because can I use my personal ace from my communication birds to make sure we do this perfectly?
Absolutely.
Excellent.
You can both add a d4.
Is everyone okay with me adding the party ace to
Yes,
this?
absolutely do it.
We will get more.
You have another
Yeah.
one granted to you from chat.
Oh,
Thank
Chat.
you.
Oh my
God. Thank you, Tessa.
All right, so then that is a 12 for me.
Beautiful.
11.
11. Beautiful.
straight 10 for me.
10.
So
That's 3 holds still.
I would like to use my hold immediately, given I'm kind of setting the trap here, to push the monster back on the control track.
So they're down to a D10.
It's a D100. You don't want that.
What can the hold be used for?
You can advance your position on the control track. You can rescue a teammate that rolled a 6 or below, but no one did. You could push the monster back on the control track. You could gain a session ace for the party, or you could refresh one of your critical aces. No one's used your critical ace yet, but you could save it until someone does, and then refresh it. But yeah, Ishmael, what does this look like? Is you 1, 2.
So as it's flying down, basically Ishmael is going to use. He has this really long. He's got a really long stick, kind of like a branch, with a little hook, and he's going to kind of pull on a rope that's going to send 2 large. Basically, he's had 2 trees bent and pinned down with some mining equipment, and it's going to release those, throwing them up, putting that net up there to wrap around and kind of obscure. It's kind of it has these cloth overhangs attached to the rope like tassels, so it kind of can distract a little bit in that moment as it's coming in addition to the padding, and is going to hopefully be large enough to kind of get around its head and wings, and then kind of tie onto itself. And then send that dragon crawling. As Rhea can make sure that its momentum carries it into the cave, and Maddie can hopefully book it like hell to not get run over by the dragon train.
I would even say that this would set up a beautiful set 'em up move, because you have used subterfuge, trickery, or subtle actions to mislead, trap, or confuse your monster. So the 2 of you waiting inside, Cordelia and Zuzu, if either of you would like to use the set 'em up move right now, you certainly could.
I mean, I have pretty good fun. I would love to.
Go for it.
That was an 8, but I am going to use a character ace to hopefully bring that up to a 10. Yeah, it's a 3. Okay, so that's an 11.
Beautiful. It's perfectly just comes sliding in below the lightning rod, that horn just letting out bursts of energy, all of which just condense upward to the top of this cavern, causing the heat in this room to start rising immensely. So you advance on the control track by 1, bringing you up to a D8.
And pick 1.
Ow.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the 3rd one. I get a moment to diagnose the monster's wounds. Ask the guide one thing the monster can do, and one thing it can't due to its wounds.
So you have negated its lightning. You've mostly negated its the glass-like rain, but it still does have the miasma, which it can willingly secrete. It could just puff it out. Which would mean that if it was under distress, everyone around it would be at risk of infection. If you can't get to it quick enough.
All right. Yeah, at that point, like, I'm just kind of like, you know, let's move in. And
the gloves are out.
Yes, the gloves are out. I had some extra from practice. Yeah, I'm going to communicate that to the rest of the group. So if we could get this wyvern's heart eaten, I think that would help us a whole lot.
Okay. Would you like to attempt the first cure?
I would love to do that. So what am I rolling?
You're at a D8 on the combat tracker, or the dice tracker. So it is
Okay.
just a D8. Which means that you physically can't succeed unless you spend an ace.
Unless I spend an ace. And what are we looking at in terms of aces? Like, I know I have 2 character aces left.
You have 1 critical ace, which adds a D8. But
We have
Adds a
2
D8.
critical aces.
Ah.
We got 1.
you decided not to take
back-
the second one.
I used didn't we get 3 holds?
You have 3 holds. You spent 1 hold, so you still have 2 holds, which you could use to refresh it.
So
Yeah.
okay, so we can get a second critical ace if you want to use it.
Okay. So yeah, we're
So-
gonna have to use a critical ace.
2 D8.
So I'm just gonna roll 2 d8s and see what happens. I rolled an 8 and a 2.
Beautiful.
Nice.
Ah! The stress.
So you get to heal one of the monster's wounds. They lose that ability that the wound granted them.
Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get rid of that miasma then, because that's the most threatening at the moment. Yeah, Cordelia is just immediately going to get to work on suturing up these wounds. Probably starting with some type of local anesthetic, just to take the edge off, and so it can't really notice or feel that I'm there as much. Because doing any type of general anesthetic with something this large is just not going to work. So yeah, she's just gonna start. Honestly, at this point, with how large it is, probably just start stapling.
Just take a moment to shove your, powdered wyvern heart into its throat, and then immediately jump on and start stapling wounds.
Mhm.
Okay. I am going to use a GM move. Because I can do that.
No, you
allowed?
can't.
Not allowed. You're not GM
We don't-
anymore.
Look at
You don't have that power. You're a player. You're one of us.
Power here.
We are going to create an elemental vortex with its wings. As trapped as they may be, they still try to spread out. They even just lift a few edges up off its back and then slam down, causing just this rapid, sudden change in cold. The air freezes on just the momentary contact, and for that brief moment, the entire inside of the cavern is this ice shard nightmare where everything is snap freezing cold. Would you like to do anything?
So where am I after I've grappled it? Is there a potential that I'm still on top of it, or at this
Absolutely.
point has it been okay? So I am hoping that I'm somewhere close enough that it will be able to hear me, and I am going to start singing, and it's gonna be kind of like an awkward, little, it's gonna be like a little nervous singing, but it's be like, we're trying to help you, but melodic and kind of just an actual sound, song, but just trying to, I don't know, kind of like a lullaby kind of thing, reassuring it through the words that I'm singing, even if it can't understand me. I know it's probably really agitated, so it's probably not gonna fall asleep with what I'm doing, but I'm hoping it'll kind of communicate to it that it's not in harm's way.
Is there a move that you are trying to do?
Well, this is the specialty specifically. But I can see if there's a move that would also...
You have Get in the Way, you have...
Oh yeah, I'll do Get in the Way. I'll kind of make sure, I'll try to make myself be the more prevalent thing by kind of singing a little bit louder and trying to distract it.
Yeah.
And that's with Brit.
Mhm.
Okay.
And with its vortex, it is going to push itself back up to a D12.
Okay. I have to roll 1 because apparently I
Oh.
decided I have to roll well because apparently I decided to do a -1 for grit. Ooh, that is a 5.
Can I use my hold? Isn't she rolled under? They rolled under 6, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you could use it to
can do
refresh
that.
the critical.
Well, you could rescue a
Um,
teammate that rolled
yeah,
a 6
I
or
can
below, but that
I
was
can rescue a teammate that rolled a 6 or below.
that might have been with the we go on 3.
Yeah, for it's
Mhm.
row 6 or below for that move.
Okay. Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay. What? Okay, so if I rolled a 5, would I just not do anything then, basically?
Then you know what? I'll use my hold to refresh a critical ace so they can get a D8.
Thank you. Okay. Now I gotta make sure I roll really well with this. Okay, that's a 3, but it still brings it up to an 8.
So on a 7 to
Total.
a 9, you push
So-
the monster back on the control track by 1, down to a D10,
Okay.
and you lose something to protect your friends. You lose an ace, a supply, you move back on the control track, or you lose something precious, valuable, or important.
No. I don't really know what I would have that would be precious and valuable, so I think
I
I
have a suggestion.
I also have an idea.
oh no.
I have an idea.
Give me the ideas. My creativity is failing me.
I want to hear who first. If we have the same brain,
Yeah.
then we have to high five.
It's a Little Mermaid situation where it would use that magic, that poison in its body to, as you're singing, just pull the words right out of your throats.
Oh my god.
See, I was gonna
Oh.
say, because the thing is something precious, valuable, important to the people of the town is destroyed. I said you could set the cave to be in such a state that it will cave in when we're done here.
Yeah, I'm thinking the shoes broke.
Moon
shoes.
My moon shoes, no!
Moon shoes. That's what I was thinking. The
voice
moon
is
shoes.
not as bad as the moon shoes. All right,
Just-
then.
Voices.
Absolutely a suggestion.
Oh my gosh. Well, that's okay because now you guys don't have to make the huge drive to high five in person. So, is the cave something that would actually qualify as something precious and valuable? Like, would that count?
The cave?
I don't. Well, then
Probably wouldn't call it.
you'd probably have it collapse right now on top of us, right?
It would become unsteady, for sure.
No, I'm gonna have to do the voice thing. Cause I know that Maddie can still calm it down. I might need to still use my moon shoes if it tries to get away. So,
Yeah.
and me singing would take a long time anyway, because this thing is really agitated. So,
It definitely does draw its attention away as it had started to reel back to bite into your allies, but the head just turns enough that one eye makes eye contact with you in mid-song. Just the words its throat just tightens and nothing comes out.
there's like an eerie echo of like the last word I just said in the cave, and then it just goes like quiet on that wavelength.
But its miasma is gone, its lightning is nullified for the moment, it is pinned in place. Zuzu, do you have any moves you'd like to do?
feel like the healing is best left up to Cordelia because she's real good with that stapler. I think I want to use set 'em up if possible.
Oh.
And so it's kind of a multi-step idea, but essentially I want to get into view with Poopa so it can see another dragon and that, like, it's, I don't know, maybe if it sees one of its own kind, like, it might relax a little bit. It maybe. I also had the whole groomer thing where I can make anything sparkle and comfy, and so I've got the bread and I've got the brushes and just like I'm going full out dragon groomer. It's okay. Look at me, you're okay.
Sure, yeah.
What am I rolling?
2d10 plus 5.
2d10. You ever have a moment where you look at dice and you go, "What's a 10?"
What's a D10?
As I throw it on the ground, so that's okay.
Supposed to be rolling d10s, was I?
2d6. 2d6.
Okay, because I was
Yeah.
gonna say that changes a lot if I was on d10s.
I like d10s. Okay, 6s. So that's 8 plus 5.
Oh. 8.
7, 8.
Your d6s, correct?
Yeah. I have a 6 and a 2.
Okay. I was very confused, and for a moment I thought you were saying you rolled an 8 on a d6.
No.
Okay.
Together. Sorry, to get together.
So yeah, on a 10 plus, it does seem to fall into that security, aided by the fact that it was starting to get, lulled by Rhea before it lashed back out with magic. So yeah, you advance the tracker to a d10, and you get to choose one.
I feel like the session ace might be better than a +1. Because that has the possibility to be a, +8.
Yeah?
So, yeah, go Cordelia, go!
Well, I was gonna try and bond with it so we can get that tracker up again.
So right now, it's at a d10, you were all at a d8.
Nice.
Because if I can successfully bond with it, let me.
Go for it.
Yeah, because if I can successfully bond with it, where is it? Hold on. We move up one spot and cannot move back down. Like, this is the lowest we can be is where we're at right
Oh.
now.
Whoa.
So I'm gonna try and bond.
Do it.
Do it.
Do it. Bond it. Bond
Do we
it.
have any more session aces? Because I rolled a 9.
Yeah,
Could
I just gave us one.
Oh
Yes.
yeah.
Right, okay.
It's an offer to
Cool,
get
I
there.
rolled a 1, so I got a 10.
I am going to use my villain point to immediately use a GM move called Turn Move Around.
Turn around every now and then. I got really pissed when Apu pulls some shit out his ass.
It is so easily bonded to no resistance, and you would just kind of fall into this semi-trance as you are trying to connect with it. And while your body may be numb on the outside, all of you see Maddie just stop and stand there, sway a little, and then wounds just start opening up, and patches of scales just start forcing their way up. So your bond is
Quick, Find
successful.
your memento. Find your memento.
Your bond is successful.
Okay. Why
Oh,
does it feel successful?
So it's successful. So we're at D10s, yeah.
You're tied at a D10. Yep.
we just need to heal
And
this
he-
as fast as possible, right? Because if we
could-
heal the
And
dragon,
and you guys can't go lower than a D10 now. Like
Sweet.
this is
Ooh,
the lowest on the track you can go.
We also did we already count the hero point that's in chat right now, or is that new?
That is new.
It's
So you,
new.
you have another session ace.
Should we do another go on 3 to? Because then we can, if any of us get a +10, we could 10 plus. We could do a hold one and advance the track, and then we're
So what you already have to... Oh, you have one hold left, which you could use to automatically advance the tracker by 1. Which is Rhea's hold.
I like that.
maybe do that.
That brings you to
Let's
a
do that.
D12. Are we
Okay.
trying for another cure?
I'm down.
Yes, somebody
Alright.
cure this thing.
All right. I'm gonna try it.
In my bag. Or did I hand over the stuff I got from the nest already?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been synthesized.
Cool, cool.
It
Cordelia
wasn't like
has it.
specific.
If-
It wasn't like specifically said, but like okay, cool.
If we want, we could. I could set you up if you feel like you need a +1 or something.
I mean, I wouldn't say no to that.
All right. Ishmael's gonna come heading back in, and if I could, I have pack rat, so I just kind of have what I can say. I also can pull things out of my ass, literally, metaphorically here. I match your powers with my own. And its wings that are getting, stormed. I'd like to, just throw these really heavy chain lines around and basically do a crisscross pattern with the pythons down and get it like better restrained so someone can get it. So when the team gets in and can help repair or cure rather.
Absolutely, yeah. So you get a +1 to this.
Well, hopefully. I get +1 in general.
Because you used your pack rat, so I would say that automatically succeeds at your move. Set him up.
Sure. Yeah. I pack rat it. I'll just mark that off on my sheet. At least one prep. But yeah, I'll give I'll give a +1 as long as they exploit the situation I've created.
Oh, absolutely. That made a particular area a lot less guarded, so we're just gonna try it. Oh no, do we? How many assassinations do we have? 2? Alright, I'm gonna use 1. Cause that was a 4 plus the 1. So that's 5.
Did you roll 2d12 and you got 4?
Oh, I'm supposed to roll 2 of them?
Or just the d12?
It's just a D12.
Yeah. It's a
Oh,
D12. I rolled a 4
no.
on it.
Oh,
Yeah,
no.
I know. Alright. I just need 5 or higher. 5 or higher. That's a 6. Let's go.
yeah.
It's a total of 11.
Get it.
What wound would you like to heal? You have its elemental control over the glass rain, you have the lightning horn, and you have its draconic infection.
Alright, what was the third one?
Draconic infection, the lightning horn, or the rain.
The thing that's turning Maddie into
A dragon.
a
Yeah,
scaly.
let's do that. Let's do that. I like that a whole lot.
Just take your substance and just jam it into the side of this thing, a big old needle. It's gonna start working. It is going to break that bond partially. It is still successful, so you're still holding on to the success, but it's no longer just having this staring match with Maddie. It is now broken out of it. But that's 2 wounds healed. Have 2 left. And I'm gonna go with another move because it is broken out. It is mad. It's gonna start trying to get into a better position and pull itself out of this cavern that it's been jammed into.
Not allowed.
Would any of you like to make a move to try to stop it?
Can I grapple it further than I've already grappled it, or is that probably redundant?
I mean,
like, switch my positioning now that like there's been chains wrapped around it to like make it more optimal? I don't know.
you could certainly hold on tighter so that you would go with it.
I don't know if that would be helpful right now.
Get in the way.
Yeah?
I would be in the way,
You'd
but
be-
Get in the way
I-
would
I
stop
don't-
it from getting out on a success.
okay. Okay. So I'll just try to grapple it further, and I'm just doing it mutely, and it's very sad, but
2d6 plus grit.
all right. Well, I rolled a 10, and I have a +1 for grit, so that's an 11. So I channel the danger away from me and towards the monster, push the monster back on the control track.
Down to a d8.
Oof, rough for them.
And that's it. Nothing bad happens. You just grab onto the chains, plant your feet as it's trying to pull its head out of this cavern, and you were just wrestling with this massive dragon. But yeah, that's its opportunity gone. Back to all of you.
I think we need to roll another cure.
You know what? I'm gonna be
Yeah.
the band, the Cure. All right. We're still on the D12, right?
Yep.
It's a 12. That was my. Oh, I did it face. Yeah. Let's take out the lightning elf now that we're not in direct contact threats at the moment.
That horn, it is right by your face as it's like trying to pull itself out. It's had to scrunch the head down, which means it's brought that horn basically to eye level, and there's just those blood crystal shards just starting to like fully encompass that thing, and that's probably what's causing the lightning to go out of control. So what would you like to do with it?
I mean, I wouldn't want to dehorn completely. I would
Mhm.
probably just take, I'm not sure if you all have seen how, horn like, shaving actually works with, like, the wire, but basically just go along the side and get the actual crystals off. Just take, like, it has 2 handles. It's almost like a Garrett, except, like, you don't use it to choke people. You just, like, take it across.
play.
Oh, no, I'm not gonna do that. Yeah, again, same thing with, I mean, I would probably guess that the arteries in these are pretty large, so, just
Mhm.
getting more things like local anesthetics and stuff like that nearby. But for sure.
Having to like chip away at the crystal in order to expose anything to apply the anesthetic. The life that's pulsing into those crystals with the electricity fading a bit with the effects, and it's no longer spewing energy into the lightning rod. It only has 1 wound left, and it is pinned. Your allies have it under control. Would all of you roll a cure? The D12.
I got a 9.
Y'all ain't gonna believe this. You're not gonna believe this. I rolled another 12.
I rolled 2.
I rolled a 4.
I think we still have one more session, Ace.
You do?
I mean, if anyone should use it, it's Maddie who has a 4, not a 2.
I have a 9, which would take us
You want-
out to a 10 plus.
I think that's what we want is a 10 plus.
Mm-hmm.
The more 10 pluses we can get.
So
But
I'm gonna
are there
take-
any negative effects to there being really low numbers?
Boy.
Oh,
You could-
helpful, helpful.
Yes, there
If we-
probably are.
If we heal it first, though, then it can't
Yeah.
do anything wrong.
But this is a cure roll, is it not?
Yep.
Shh. We know that. The audience does that, but Hoop doesn't know that.
They do have a single 10 plus so far.
We can get a second one. It might cancel out the 2 bad ones. At least be a neutral, maybe.
Rhea, what did you roll?
A 9.
9.
Oh, so we have 2 9s.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
And then a 2 and a 4. And a 12. So,
Yeah, where would you like
Back.
to spend your final critical ace?
please. Red, just roll it, please. I think we need another cure. I think we need another cure because 7 and 9. 4? We could do 4, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Do it.
Do it, Maddie.
Me? No.
Yeah.
I got a,
Yeah.
I got a 4.
And
we're
now
trying to
you
see
can-
if we can get it up to a higher
Oh,
number so
no.
that there's more successes.
Yeah, you only need a
All right.
3.
What is it, a D8?
D8.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's a 10
Nice.
because I rolled a 6.
Too easy. Too easy. Look.
I thought you rolled a 10 and I was like, wait for a small howl, but that's awesome.
Nope. No, 6 plus 4 is 10.
I know I know math, right? Yeah, maybe?
2
Questionable.
10 pluses. That cure that you injected finally working its way through this thing's system. And finally it calms. Those crystals just cracking, breaking off, hitting the ground and shattering. It inhales and exhales, a frost-covered breath just trailing across the floor.
You're gonna be all right there, buddy.
You can release me.
Did we all hear that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Say no more.
Question, do I get my voice back?
No, it's gone forever.
No. I should have broken my moon shoes.
If you were to climb off and try to say something, it'd be a moment of recognition and once again take a breath and then kind of exhale your direction, that cold hitting you, frost feeling climbing down your throat and unclenching those muscles.
Did my scales go away?
No.
You might need
I-
to bring attention to that next, but I'll get down and I'll kind of like have that moment where I like try it out and something doesn't come out for a second and then I like try to talk again and it's like a little bit raspy, but then I like eventually like say-
spicy.
and why is it spicy? My entire throat is spicy. And then I'll start like helping Ishmael kind of remove the bonds.
Yeah, no, Ishmael works very effectively around rope and will absolutely just kind of like be removing pythons with his hook tool and pulling them out of the ground. In a few bits, he probably can just like latch onto it at one point and pull, and it comes off like a blanket.
from your parents when you were 6 years old and had to go to school.
That was oddly specific.
Oh, oh my god, what is that TikTok sound where it's like, like they take the blanket away? Sorry.
Would
Gotta go to school.
kind of gingerly pull its head out of the cavern. And with the storm subsiding, the early morning light would start trickling past through the clouds. A pair of griffins, heavily battered from the claws that have been raking at the side of the spire, the tail that's been whipping, trying to get a grip at something. They've been waging a small war outside of this cavern, keeping the worst of its appendages busy. You don't see the other four. The two remaining griffins would land kind of gingerly pecking along the dragon. It looks down. I'm all right. Thank you. Thank all of you. I owe you a debt I could never repay.
Don't think any of us did this for payment, but is this contagious?
It will fade in time.
Are you alright then?
No. I have wrongs to right.
Those affected by the same thing as you cleared from it now?
In time, there should be. Those that had not already succumbed to it.
Do you know how many?
No.
Path of redemption is not one that's easy to walk. But you're gonna watch as Ishmael kind of works up a sleeve off of the armor, of the padding and stuff that's on him, and shows a mark that's on his arm that connects him to one of the organizations that probably still hunted monsters for a long time. Can't remember in the group. Oh gosh, what are they called? I'm gonna go with Golden Fist. But it is worth taking every step.
Get that nod and that acknowledgement of I understand.
Do you know how you got infected?
Humans. They brought a plague to this holy place. They wanted to mine it for resources. They've seen what Fool's Gold does. Those crystals. I know not why, but they wanted them.
The exact people who started this? Or did they fall victim to it too?
Most fell victim, yes. Some lived.
Well, maybe those losses aren't too sad, but they left a lot of bloodshed in their path.
A wrong that I also intend to right.
Is there any way we could help you?
Perhaps. I will come calling.
wait for your storm then.
What can we call you?
Other than Stormbringer, of course.
Arashi.
Ishmael will bow. We will wait then.
I will return. I have a pilgrimage to finish. I have amends to make, and then we hunt those responsible.
Good.
Gonna stretch out the wings, still sore. There's some wounds from where the chains and the ropes bit down to keep him, locked in place. But with one massive downbeat, we take off up into the air, a pair of griffins following very closely behind, almost like baby ducklings following their mother.
Bye, Greg. Bye, Roy.
With that, symbiosis is complete. Fool's Gold is healed. And all that's left is the journey home. Climb your way down the wooden steps, down the rope ladders, now able to see clearly the beautiful view from the spires. Unobstructed by a lightning storm, it is just for miles and miles you can see, over top of lush forests, of massive desert. You even see little bits of the ash desert raining down. Every little bit of life that this world has to offer is there for you to admire. Eventually reaching the bottom, passing the hut belonging to your new friend, to find it vacant. To find it full of cobwebs and dust, and having been empty for a very long time. A trio of graves out front, buried so long ago that the grass has already retaken it. The words of the graves barely legible for years and years of sitting amongst the wind. All that would be left on the door is a single wreath of flowers and a handwritten note that said, "Thank you."
Maddie would go into the building. Kind of wondering what is going on, because it's only been a few days. Are there any remnants of the blanket she left
Oh, the blanket's
that
finished.
they were working in?
It's laid out there over top of the bed, over top of the dust.
Maddie would grab the blanket, drag it, because a large blanket for a 7-foot tall woman. I don't come out to the others and be like, I don't know what happened here. This wasn't like this a few days ago, but this was still here. I'll show them the blanket.
There's patterns you know, crocheted into it a family living happily, a call to war, a call to protect. The oldest son and father leaving to never return home. A mother left to grieve for years. But finally someone came along and helped put her mind at ease, helped to give her some comfort and the strength to move on.
I know what occurred. We did the right thing.
Feels like we did.
Good.
Nah.
I wanted to reunite her with her son and husband, and I didn't realize it'd be this way, but it's something.
Maybe we can spend one last night with them all together. Build a fire, share some stories, drink some hot chocolate,
Like
bread and butter.
I think that'd be nice.
Plan.
I'll lay the blanket out over by where the tombstones are. Start going about setting up.
A beautiful evening, perfectly clear sky, the stars eventually coming out as clear as they have been for as long as you can remember. It's a beautiful night, sharing stories of celebrating a well-fought victory and celebrating moving on. I think that's a beautiful place for us to bring the game to a close.
The last few games I've played with you, they've all had really sad endings.
That was a
Like
happy
hopeful,
ending.
but like hopeful, but like
bittersweet.
still like yeah.
Thank you all so much for being here. This was Monster Care Squad, a game about healing and righting wrongs and pain and how to deal with it. This was a lovely cast that I want to give one more chance for everyone to tell the audience who you are, and if you're working on any projects people can check out, where they can find it. And we will start the opposite way that we did the intros, so Lonnie will be first.
Okay. Let's see if I remember what I'm doing. All right. Hi everyone. I am Lonnie or Looney Shaws. I was playing as Raya tonight. And I'm so happy that I got to use all of the moves and everything that I made for her. Even though my special moon shoes were a totally last minute idea. If you want to see more things that I'm in, as of right now, I think I'm actually close to the end of my December shows. So I think I have 2 left. On Sunday the 18th, I'm over on High Shelf Collective for the final day of their charity drive for the Trevor Project, where they've already raised more than half of their goal already, and they haven't even had a full week, which is incredible. And I will be playing One Ring, so it's Lord of the Rings. So if you like Lord of the Rings, come check it out. And then on the 21st, I am over here on Santa Slasher. So, so excited for that. We haven't played since October. So excited to get the group back together. And let's see if I almost die again. Or, you know, have the killer fall in love with me. Last session was weird. I don't know. Anything can happen. So, yeah, that's me.
Very different vibe for that one. Just a little.
Yeah,
Well,
Santa
different.
Claus. Yeah, yeah. Okay.
But yeah, that brings us down to Dino.
Hi, I'm Dido. You can find me on Twitter at Dido11. I am not doing too much, you can catch me back here on Friday doing 10 candles. And then I'll be running my PvP holiday game next Friday on the 23rd, where I run people through Santa's village. And if they don't kill each other, I do it for them.
Or Blair does it. You know what you did.
Or Blair does it.
But yeah, brings us over to Tessa.
I'm Tessa, was playing Zuzu tonight. You can find me in our Discord channel, scheduling all the shit. Also on Twitter, where I post all the posters for our games to let you know when they're happening. That's pretty much my life at the moment. So that's, yeah.
Feel
Go
that.
check them out. The posters are gorgeous.
Oh,
Really
thank you.
are.
Really
So good.
incredible.
But yeah, hopefully we get to see more of you when you're working yourself to death.
I mean, it's only midnight.
Yeah.
I
Over
mean,
to Turk.
soon.
Well, hey, I am Turk, or Turk Invented, where the minds gather. On Twitch and Twitter, etc., of course. And I was, of course, playing Ishmael. It was really fun. Really glad I got a chance to be a part of this squad. I'm very honored to be part of this group. Y'all are awesome. And it's so, oh my god, my heart. So if you want to see me and my face and more of the things that I do, of course I have great news. I'll be hanging out here with Heck and Hoop a whole bunch this week. And because tomorrow I will maybe kill a member of the party with I feel like every single session's like, maybe it's this
Which
time.
one? I don't know.
Any of
Any
them,
of them.
honestly. Take a pick, draw a card. But we're gonna be playing through the breach. I have a gun, several guns actually now, and a license to do cool things with it because my cool abilities. Beyond that, then I'll be in Lancer, where I am a great fool and I have explosives. So really, I should just be listed as a threat over the next coming weeks. Finally, finishing off the month here with the second part of Henrietta Art, the Delta Green two-shot here on the 22nd. That's been incredible thus far. I'm really looking forward to seeing how that group finishes things off. And then, of course, lastly, for the final session of my year will be Icon on the 28th. And then January is going to bring a whole bunch of new stuff into the mix. So, keep it locked wherever shout out on social media naturally grows. And I'll look forward to seeing you then. And, just continue to be a good person because, the world needs that right now, especially at the turn of the year. So, see you all next time.
Heck yeah. Speaking of heck yeah, heck.
Hey everybody, it's me, Siraklot. I played Cordelia, and this was an absolute delight. To play. Again, like I said at the beginning, this has been on my radar for a very long time. It is such a cool game, such a cool premise. I jive with it. It's good stuff. In terms of where you can find me, you can find me on all social medias at Sir Heckalot, including Twitch, Twitter, Itch, Instagram, TikTok. I'm technically on Hive, but I don't really go on it. It's just kind of there in the background at the moment. But who knows? I might be on some of my own personal streams or something like that. If you liked the clinical reasoning that is this stream, I might be doing a little bit of case study stuff on my own stream. So tune in if you like this kind of stuff. In terms of the TTRPG space, Turk already mentioned Icon and Through the Breach. So for this week and not next week, but the week after that, that's all I have left for December. But I have a lot of stuff have slotted for 2023. So just kind of watch out on my social medias because it'll be a bunch of different channels, including Indoor Adventures with a 1986 Ghostbusters campaign. We'll be resuming Numenera as a season 2 on the Hype Goblins channel. We'll be back with things, my D&D things like Cold Hands Warm Hearts and All Hail the Queen on their respective channels. So there's going to be a lot. So definitely stay tuned. And I can't wait to see you there. Thanks for tuning in. Back to you, Hoop.
Of course, I have been Andrew, your games master for this evening. If you like what we do and you do want to join us and roll some dice with us in the future, or just come hang out when we're not in the stream, you can join our Discord. Link is down below. It's that big old button that says Discord. It's where we post everything from casting calls to schedules to cat pictures to delicious looking recipes. And it's where we just hang out and be giant nerds. This game was beautiful and epic, and it's so great. The art is amazing. Highly recommend you go check it out. Just beautiful game. But our friend No Man is currently live, playing some D&D. I'm gonna throw a raid over there. And of course, as always, be good people, do good things, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.
Yeah.